pieces in my life go away with you. Forever in my mind, only you. The pieces in my life run away with you. You're my first love. You're my first love. You're my first love. You're my first love.
Good evening all, and welcome to the Yeongnam circuit in Korea for round 12 of the Thrustmaster Formula Sim Racing World Championship with myself, Nick Rowland, and my partner in crime today, who has done 3 broadcasts this weekend, Mr. Lewis Middleade. Good afternoon to you, Lewis.
Oh yeah, good afternoon. Yeah, it should be hopefully a good race. I mean, we've had 2 good ones before, and hopefully, you know, the 2 good ones where we actually had quite a good battle for the lead. Obviously, with the World Series, it kind of wobbled its way off a little bit when one of the precision drivers of Rob van Starkenburg clouted with the wall. But, you know, we've had some close battles for the lead, and we had a very close qualifying session last time out earlier on in World Trophy, where we had 8 drivers within 0.3 of a second in Q2. So it's looking like we could be actually having a really good race today. And one would really hope for that, because we all like a nice, interesting race with a bit of strategy and a nice wheel-to-wheel duel and that.
Exactly, around this very technical circuit. I regard it as a technical circuit because there's sectors 2 and 3, but the first one's probably not that difficult, really. But it's we are in qualifying 1 at the moment, so we've got 5 minutes and 50 seconds left of qualifying 1, with Bono Huis currently setting the pace on a 1:37.853, followed up by the Ghost Speed driver of Philip Pushko on a 1:37.9. So some good times already being set in this qualifying 1 session. On a weekend where we could see Bono Huis crowned champion once again in Formula Sim Racing. He has to outscore teammates Ivar Kalamies by 16 points to secure the title. So depending on how things go for Ivar today, we could see Bono claiming another championship, and that's pretty illustrious to would have claimed. What that would be 4 we would have been on to then.
Yeah, it's his 4th in a row, and it's. As much as I love, you know, I love my close championships and everything like that. With this one, it's the same as what it's been a few times before. You've got to accept that Bono is just, you know, an extreme level of talent that we've got, and it does make some of the races a little bit boring. We've had some good races though, but I don't know if he'll get it today though. I don't think he'll get it today because Ivar is a very good driver. We've seen that before. He's had a podium a good few times, and he's you know, in Italy, I think he was on the podium as well in last time out in Japan. So, you know, he's a very good driver, considering he's second in the championship to Bono. I kind of see this going at least 1 round further, and maybe Bono will win his championship in under the lights of Singapore, where he won his first one.
Yeah, maybe so. It's been a bit of an up and down championship, obviously, with Morgan Rand announcing his retirement midway through the season, I guess that kind of thing blew things out the water in terms of the rivalry between the teams more. So it turns into an inter-team rivalry in the Precision camp. So I think that's kind of soured it slightly. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I would. I mean, it has been a bit of an up and down championship for some, less so for others, but it's been an interesting championship. Maybe not so much on track. We've had those good moments that we've all remembered for a while. Some maybe not good moments, like Montreal. That was an interesting moment that kind of got me very confused with the lapping of DeWitt and then the tripping over of everyone. It's been a championship that we've had some bits that we remember, some bits that we haven't, and I think Bono does a very good job to put himself in the position that he does, but you're kind of getting a bit of a feeling now for the people who watch and other people who take part, is that what's going to happen next with Bono? Is he going to be staying in FSR next year? I would assume as much, but where else does he have to go, really?
I think that's what a lot of people question, is where is the next challenge for him? Does he move to something like iRacing? Does he see another challenge there, a different challenge there? But as it currently stands, I don't think him or the team are that interested with the iRacing route, and the level of competition is still fairly strong on here, while he's not being challenged other than maybe from his own team and Moran at the time, although we have just seen Peter Burlack do a 37.8 also, but at a time that's quicker than Bono. So Peter Burlack's looking pretty handy already. We've seen how good he was yesterday in World Series that I competed in as well, and he was exceptional in qualifying then and the race. And Bono has won 5 on the bounce potential of 6th one today. It's only since those 2 kind of crazy races where we had around Montreal, as Lewis was just saying about there before, which was an unforgettable race really, and then obviously Ivar winning in Silverstone as well after a very chaotic race with points and championships and divisions all being up for grabs at that point, I think, and no one really knowing who was going where and what the positions were. But since then, it's been pretty much the Bono Quiz show since that point, and at the moment he's sitting second in qualifying 1, but we could see a fight from the Twister racing cars in particular, and the Ghost Speeds are looking pretty handy as well. The second GT Omega racing car, Jeffrey Rietveld, he's just jumped into 4th place. He's on a 37.9. And Dean Kostadinov has re-shown some form as well in the Crown 7 NetRex, also on a 37.9. The top 10 only split by half a second. And a man in 10th place at the moment on a 38.4 is Blair Disley, which is a superb effort for PSR, and has clearly been able to put a lot of mileage in for Korea, and is showing out at the moment, being in 10th position in front of Eros Mashkuli and Carlos Martin, who are trying to break into that top 10. But a very good job there from Blair Disley.
Yeah, very good. I mean, he's shown some good form. I mean, I think he had a top 10, or it was his teammate who had a top 10 back in Italy, and they've been looking pretty good. And obviously with PSR, they took a win earlier on today in the World Trophy. And I mean, you say that the top 10 are within that 0.6 of a second. The top 8 are within 0.3 of a second again, and it's quite a tight qualifying session. And even then, we're at the point where it's the top 10 who move on into the next piece of qualifying, and that top 10 at the moment is Burlack, who's leading it, which is quite a surprise really for a World Series driver to be coming into World Championship again. He's done it a few times so far and has put himself up into P1, and we all know that Burlack's really talented anyway, so that's nice to see. Then it's Huis, Simoncic, Rietveld, Kostadinov, Pushka, Calamaze, Keith Lee, Malorqui and Blair Disley, and also going on to Calamaze, who is second in the championship at the moment. It was just posted in the chat section that we shouldn't really forget that Ivar Calamaze was the person who won this race last year, and was only one of 3 winners last year, so Ivar goes well at this track.
Yeah, and the top 7 actually split by just under 0.2 of a second. That's the top 7 drivers, and it's the gap starts to appear more so down to 10th place. So the next few drivers after that are slightly more spread. But there's only a 37.8 that's been done, and Ivar Calamaze has done a 38.0. So it goes to show that there's really not much in it at all with these drivers, and they've done a good effort, all of them, to progress into what will be qualifying 2. And it looks like Blair Disley for PSR will progress into Q2, which is a fantastic effort for Blair Disley, and also will be the first man out on track if he so chooses. Again, reminding people, if they're not entirely sure of how the qualifying works, Q2, the drivers will go out one by one. The first driver will go out on track, set a flying lap. During that lap, the next driver will go out on track in preparation for his lap. And it will go so forth down to the very last driver, who will be Peter Burlack as the fastest man in qualifying 1. Now, we have seen World Series drivers show their hand in qualifying before and be very, very quick against the WC drivers, but it seems to be the consistency that's let them down, and that's where the World Championship drivers seem to prevail and really come to the forefront of the field, and that's what Bono Swees in particular has always been so supremely good at, is that sheer consistency.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. I mean, the World Series drivers and the World Trophy drivers, they're all very talented, and I'm confident that quite a lot of them can come up here and, you know, move midfield, maybe even towards the top. Pace-wise, consistency-wise, though, maybe not so much, because this is the difference between a World Series driver and a World Championship driver. A World Series driver can put that lap in a good few times, whereas the World Championship drivers can put that lap in even more, and then Bono Huis just does it every single lap of the race. And that's where it is. It's not outright speed, it's the outright consistency. That's where the time is, that's where the race wins are. And that's where the championships are, is with that consistency as opposed to just the speed.
Absolutely. So we're about to progress into qualifying 2. Looks like a few people are having a couple of technical issues just at the moment, but we will be progressing into qualifying 2 momentarily, with Peter Burlack being the fastest one. He'll be the last man out on track in Q2. While we just wait for the session to move over, and while drivers just sort themselves out in race direction, get us back underway for qualifying 2, just running through how the championship stands currently. Bono Huis is on 212 points from Ivar Calamies on 153. As we said before, it's only need a 16-point difference around this Korean circuit for Bono Huis to be crowned world champion once again. Jack Keithley for GT Omega, he's sitting in 3rd place on 117 points. Morgan Rand is now retired, but he's still sitting in 4th place in the championship on 88 points. And his teammate Philip Pushka on 87, just behind. And Philip Pushka was 5th in qualifying 1, which was a good result for him and the Go Speed team. In terms of the Constructors / Teams Championship, we have Precision Motorsports on a domineering and championship already winning 383 points. We also have 2nd place then Go Speed on 193, with GT Omega of Keithley and Rietveld there on 151 points. Twister Racing on 112, and Peter Burlack will be looking to, in particular, try and boost those points here today. And then finally, 5th place, well, we'll round out the top 5 anyway, with Brem GP on 69 points. So there's a little bit of a scrap still going on in that midpoint, but I think the team's championship is pretty spread to the point now where things are starting to really settle down on that front.
Yeah, it's a bit of a foregone conclusion. It's the team's championships, and unfortunately it seems like the drivers is pretty much as well, which is a shame. But I mean, even though the P1, the person who's leading, which is Bono or Precision, even though that they're at the top and they're the ones running away with it, you've got to remember that there is so many different and interesting battles throughout the table. You know, we've got loads of drivers on the table that are up for moving up even a couple of positions and things like that. So you've got to really focus on those people, because that's where some of the action's going to be, and that's where a lot of the changing is going to be towards the end of the season, because unfortunately I don't think we're going to see anyone else magically moving up to take Bono as the champion, if I'm honest.
Nope, so what we got to look forward to instead is the prospect of these drivers, rather than challenging in terms of the championship hunt, but actually driving on track and trying to beat them on track for, indeed, I guess, somewhat pride, if you like, and saying that once they did beat Bono Huis, and Bono Huis is beatable. And we have seen in the past that Huis is more than beatable, and on their day, once the drivers get it all hooked up, that some drivers are very, very impressive when they get it all hooked up as well, and can beat Bono Huis. So not completely invincible, but nevertheless, Huis is an extremely talented driver. As you said, we're not too sure what will happen next year and where he will go. And there's too many other variables that I think will be played out in the winter for 2014 before we know anything, to be quite honest, as opposed to what we're even going to see in the final few rounds. One bit of news that I think we already touched on the previous race, and we are going to just touch on it again, is there is going to be another round of the championship that's been added in, so there will be 3 more to go. And we'll be, the next round, exactly, in fact, which is in 2 weeks' time, will be around the streets of Singapore. And it's a track that a lot of people... It's strange, a lot of people seem to like it, and a lot of people don't. It's a very Marmite track. You either love it or you hate it. And that was a very English term to use, I just realised.
That was a very English term to use.
That was very English, wasn't it? Sorry. for our international viewers. For our international viewers, they probably won't quite understand that one. But yeah, it's a very much love it or hate it style of track. And it'll be the older version as well, so there will be the Singapore sling for these drivers to challenge themselves against, which it's an awful chicane really there, Lewis.
Singapore equals a very tough track. I mean, I think that's why some of the drivers, that's why it is a love or hate track. You know, some of the drivers who can drive it quite nicely, you know, they can just hop into a car and then instantly get around it with no problems. They enjoy the track, and then obviously you have the people who can't do that. They don't like it very much. And the thing is with the curve of the track, you know, the way the skill level curve of the track is pretty much just it's on or it's off. You know, you either have it or you don't. And it's not saying that someone's a bad driver because they don't around that track. It's just it's one of the toughest tracks on the calendar. And with the Singapore Sling, which when they took that out of Formula One, I didn't cry. Because that was the part in the I know far too many people who did. They were like, oh, but that was the best part of the track, and I was like, yeah. But when I'm playing like my games or F1 or anything like that, that's always the thing that will take me out of the Singapore Grand Prix. Always, no other corner, that one, and so I didn't like it, and now it's gone. But it's going to be back for FSR.
It is going to be back for FSR, and I always remember Kimi Räikkönen pinging off the curve and going straight into the wall in the Ferrari. I think it was the first year, in fact, that he did that when he was in the Ferrari. He was pinging himself off a curve, went straight into the outside wall there. So a lot of drivers will have to go careful on that one for sure. Anyway, we are into qualifying 2 now. We are underway. I think it was Jeffrey Rietveld that had a few technical issues, but they've all been resolved. And we do have the first man out on track. That is going to be Blair Disley. He has opted to set a qualifying time, which is fantastic to see. We've seen in the past few races that drivers have been opting in the lower end of the top 10 to not set a qualifying 2 time, to preserve their tyres for the race and actually try and do something from slightly lower in the grid. But as we saw yesterday, or as I saw in particular yesterday, going through Turn 1 at Korea, with a lot of drivers in front of you and a lot of cars around you, is not particularly easy. And on the approach down towards Turn 3 also, that is a particularly difficult braking zone. And then Turn 4 also the same. So the entire section of that first track is all about low-level downforce. And if you get it wrong that you've got too much downforce, you're going to get mugged on the straights. And once you get to the twisty section, you're too far behind the drivers that are just taking you anyway. So you probably, Blair Disley, I think, has made the right choice in here is by going out and trying to actually elevate him as high as he possibly can on the grid to get the best possible start.
Yeah, 3 very different sectors around a track like this, and Blair Disley is winding himself up for a lap that's hopefully going to move him up in qualifying.
He most certainly is, and we are on the approach now to Turn 1. He comes down from 7th gear into 2nd. It's quite a long run down that straight, but this is the longest straight. I think it's about a kilometre long straight, this. So we've got a bit of a wait as he just builds up into 7th gear already. He's going to have a very, very long 7th gear now. I will read out what the top speed is for these drivers, because it's going to vary for each individual driver. It's 310 kilometres an hour as Blair Disley hits the brakes. So he's 310 kilometres an hour for PSR driver. Looks like they're carrying a touch more downforce. Not a great exit from 3. Touch of understeer followed by oversteer as he heads up towards turn number 4. Look, it's quite a long straight, that one also. He breaks down to 2nd gear from 7th. It's a slight uphill there as well, and it off cambers coming down and to right and left, and it's a chicane, so it goes then up the hill. Oh, a little bit of oversteer on the exit again there also. Now we're coming through to the very fast section, which is 6, 7 and 8 towards 9, which should be a double downshift. Oh, triple downshift in fact there for Disley. Down to 4th gear, down to 2nd gear, which is a very tight right-hander for turn 10. Build the speed back up for the long sweeping sort of turn back in yourself hairpin. Drops 2 gears, drops another gear down to 3rd, holds 3rd through the left and then the right. Power back on, probably go up a gear, he does indeed. Back down another gear for the fast left-hander. Now, probably the worst corner of the track, I think, is this very off-cambered 90-degree right-hander that is very difficult to gear for and brake for. Second gear, then it follows onto a left, and then the long opening out right-handed corner. Make sure you clip the curb on the exit. Too much curb, in fact, there for Disley. Look, went over the grass slightly, and we'll hit the line on a 1:39.345.
Yeah, probably cost himself maybe a little bit of time in that final sector, did Blair Disley. However, 39.345, yeah, it's obviously going to put him in front of Edouard Malorqui, who's in 10th position. However, the next person on track, Jack Keithley, down through the braking zone of turn 1, gets a little bit wide and puts some wheel on the grass. However, hopefully that won't cause him too much time. You need a good driver for turn 1 to get down this straight as good as you can, because I mean, if you're losing a couple of kilometres down here, that could be a 10th of a second here, a 10th of a second there, and that's a lot of it into the second of the large braking zones. This is where we're going to probably see quite a bit of overtaking in the race, is turn 3, and a lot of acceleration down towards turn 4 again. Drive off of that corner is absolutely crucial, otherwise it's going to cost you time for such a long period of time. Comes in, clips the apex, goes a little bit wide. I've seen many a different line through turn 4. Depends on whether you're attacking, defending, or just driving around on your Todd. Doesn't get as much over the curb as I've seen Tom do, did Jack Keithley. And through the first sector he goes. And then right, and then left. Quite difficult with these curbs, because sometimes if you take them in the wrong way, you get your tyres on it a bit too much, it can spit you out a bit. However, through turn 10, another difficult braking zone. You can see probably quite a bit of overtaking there in the race, depending on how brave some of the drivers are going to be. Double apex left-hander of turn 11, and then you swing right through 12, and then all the drivers get very, very close to this wall on the outside before swinging it back in for 13, and then braking down to that corner that you love so much, and then over the curb, and then it clips the apex of 15 and 16, and then hangs right for turn 17, as then you ride the curb of 18, and towards the line he's gonna do a 1:40.033, so he's lost a lot of time on that lap and puts himself in a current second position. And the next one out on track is Ivar Calames.
Slightly curious time there, because he actually improved on what Blair Disley had done in the final sector. But he had 2 slow sectors for the first 2, and so it looks like, I think that's probably a hard tyre run, and Disley's was a soft tyre run, but just not got the lap completely together. So just to give you reference, also it was Edouard Malorqui that opted not to go out in qualifying, so he's decided to sit in the garage and preserve his tyres for the race. Nevertheless, we are on to the lap of Ivar Calames as he comes up to the end of sector, up towards turn 4, towards the end of where sector 1B will be. He'll go through the right and then the left of 5 and 6. Takes a much tighter line. Let's see what the exit is like. That's a good exit there. Powered on the touch of oversteer, but got it controlled enough. 3/10 off Disley. Looks like this is potentially another hard tyre run also. And a nice run through there for Ivar Calames. Double downshifts, and then a third downshift into 4th gear. Double downshifts. Does he go to first? No, yes, he does. Right at the very last, on the apex. Flip to first gear to control it on the exit and get on the power as early as he could. 5th gear, 4th, 3rd. Holds the inside line, 3rd gear, and flicks it right over the curbing. Good exit there from Ivar Calames. 6/10, that's about what Jack Keithley had done as well. Now, up to this point, this is where Jack Keithley actually improved over Blair Disley. Can Ivar Calames improve even more? Nice line through there for Ivar Calames, and what's the run through the final corner going to be like? He's kept it very, very tight on the inside. He's really wiggling that wheel to control the rear of the car. Nice exit though, drives to the line. And it's a 1:40.1. It's actually 3rd place, so he lost a little bit of time in that 3rd sector. I think it was in the final corner, trying to control the rear of the car, as it went completely loose on him.
Yeah, I mean, it was still a good drive. It's just a shame that he lost out a little bit in the 3rd sector, and they're dropping down into 1st. He must have quite a long 1st gear if he's actually using 1st gear in the race, and that's his intention, because you see a lot of drivers who are only using 6 gears as opposed to all 7. However, the next person on track, Philip Pushka, who was the eventual winner, I think, of the Montreal Grand Prix after everyone having about a week of complaining. And he's going about 310 kilometres an hour down that straight, so another one maybe going for a bit higher downforce, I think, could be Philip Pushka for his Go Speed Racing team. However, down towards, that's where I think the sector split is in Formula 1, is on this straight. However, for us in FSR, that's not where it is. It's as we've passed turn 6, go through this left, right, left, where it seems like Filip Puško is locking his brakes, his front brakes, quite a bit through the first sector split, which I actually can't see what the sector split was.
Just about 4 tenths off Disley.
Okay, so possibly another hard tyre run, maybe. If not, Blair Disley had a very good first sector. However, through turn 10, he goes, and then through 11, the double apex left-hander has already been stated. It's looking like a fairly tidy lap with the odd, not so tidy bit, but it's looking like a good lap. These cars, as I have stated quite a few times, are quite tough to drive, but once you've built a good base setup, they're okay. They're just a little bit slidey. Another front left lock even for Filip Puško as he head around turn 17, hopefully for him to beat Jarek Keithley or Ivo Calames. In the consideration of the time he dropped in the first sector, he goes fourth. Okay, we've done a 140.380. This is looking quite good for Blair Disley, if I'm honest.
It's looking very good for Blair Disley. That was a little bit of a disappointing one in the final sector that I think Filip Puško will be a little bit frustrated by. A little bit too tight as he approached turn 15 in second gear. I don't think it was really ideal for him. But next out on track, we've got the Crown 7 Networks driver of Dejan Kostadinov as he is going out of turn 2 and along this long straight underneath the Thrustmaster Bridge, the title sponsor. And he's building up to 311 kilometers, 312 kilometers now, so a little bit faster. So maybe using a touch less wing than what the previous drivers have done. A little bit shaky on exit there. First, second gear, touch of wheel spin that compromises exit ever so slightly up towards turn number 4. Heavy braking down from 7th down to first gear. Holds the inside line over the rise and that crest coming down off camber. First gear he uses through there and the next left as well. Powers on the exit. It's a good exit he's got there as well. That's at like 6 tenths faster than Blair Disley. Well, this is a soft tyre run if I've ever seen one. 7th gear going through the next few sections up towards turn number 10. Brakes it down to first gear. Exit, oversteer again on exit, but controlled it nicely. Up towards turn 11, 5th, 4th, and then 3rd. Holds 3rd gear all the way through, flicks it right, runs it out nice and wide. What we're going to be up to here? 8 tenths. This is a great lap here for Dejan Kostadinov. It breaks down into second gear. Second up to 3rd, back down to 2nd again. Controls the inside, nice line there. Let's see what the exit's going to be like for him. Oh, so close to the wall there. 5th gear, 6th, powers on the exit. It's been a lovely lap from the Crown 7 Networks driver here. It's at 1.2 seconds faster, 1:38.0. Superb lap.
That was an absolutely superb lap to put him in current P1, which is technically our current pole sitter. However, Jeffrey Rietveld is just rounding the final couple of corners, and don't forget we still have Rietveld, Simoncic, Huis and Burlak to go. So it's not over yet for this qualifying session, but it's looking pretty good for Dejan Kostadinov. Jeffrey Rietveld, though, goes pretty deep in turn 1. This is the first apex. Hopefully, though, to give himself a good drive off of turn 1 and all the way down this straight. Let's see what kind of speed he's going to be doing. Passes 300 kilometers an hour. And, okay. He did 308 was as fast as I saw on there, so he's definitely running a lot more downforce than his competitors at the moment. This is the thing with the tracks such as this. You've got lots of different ways that you can go with setup and lots of different sectors that you can tune your setup to, and it's whether you want a fast car in sector 1, a fast car in sector 2, or a fast car in sector 3. 3 quite different setups there, which can really change the result of your racing evening and whether you can overtake people or not. And don't forget, the 2 primary overtaking opportunities are in sector 1 and it's just sector 1 even. I don't know what I was getting into there, but yes, the primary overtaking opportunities are in sector 1. However, Jeffrey Rietveld is now in the 2nd sector and going around the turn 11 and through 12. It's again quite a tough track. He's got quite a few apexes and could be a potentially good time, dependent on what he's running tyre wise. And when we've seen quite a number of drivers running on what we reckon is going to be a hard tyre run, one would assume he'd probably be doing the same. However, he keeps right, keeps close to the wall, not quite as close as Dejan Kostadinov got. And towards the line he goes to do a 1:40.030. That puts him third at the moment.
Great lap there for Jeff Rietveld in third position. And now we have Ernie. Excellent. I always call him Ernie. Ernie Simoncic. He's out on track now for the Go Speed Racing team. So Simoncic is coming round the final corner. It's been quite a slow out lap actually this for him. He's run wide on exit as well, come out the final corner, so he's compromised the start of his lap. As we approach turn 1, 7th gear, he'll flick it down into second, does he? He does indeed. A late downshift into second, locks up the front left, and oversteer on exit. That's not been great for the first part of the lap. That's been very, very scruffy for Simoncic underneath the Thrustmaster bridge. And coming down to the hairpin into first gear. That's good on it. Oh, solid on exit there as well, but a touch of wheel spin, but he got the power down. That was the main thing there for him. Coming up towards now turn number 4, 7th, flicking down into second gear. Oh, way too early on the braking there. He got that wrong. He went over the grass and actually went up the rise and did not control that very well at all. Second gear holds the line. Oh, he's run wide as well. That's a horrible first sector there. 9/10 off. Well, that's what Rietveld had done, so that could have been a lot faster for Go Speed there. That was a really messy sector 1 there for Simoncic. You'd be disappointed with that. Flies through that up towards turn 10. Second gear, used it on exit, controls the rear of the car beautifully. Up to 5th gear, will drop from 4th and then 3rd. Powers through 3rd and looks for the exit. Holds the right-hander. And he is now 1.3 seconds off, and roughly the same as what Rietveld was as well. 4th, 5th, down to 3rd gear. Will run it all the way out to the wall and flick it down to second. No, he takes a slightly tighter line there, and actually has to compromise his entry there. Slide before the final corner also. Powers through the exit up to 6th gear, runs a bit wide over the curbing again, like he did on his outlap, and that is a 1:39.9, and it's faster than Rietveld. But I've got to say, that could have been a much faster lap overall, so Simoncic looks like he's got some good pace.
Yeah, that could have been a little bit of a better lap, especially when you consider how scruffy that first sector was. It didn't look too pretty, if I'm honest. But, you know, that could have been a good few more tenths. Maybe enough to beat this man here, Bono Huis, who's just started his lap. And heading through the first sector now, and let's see what speed he's getting up to, if I'm honest. I think he's a lot faster, but surprisingly only touches 309, so maybe not as fast as I thought, but his acceleration looks a lot better, we'll say that. The control of this man is incredible, and you know, he's arriving very well at the moment. Is Bono going for his 4th championship, which he can wrap up today if he outscores Ivar Calames by 16 points, and quite a margin is 16 points. However, he's throwing it through the second sector at the moment and then braking down towards turn 10.
Yeah, he's hit turn 10 there very, very well, and just as you were saying that, he's actually only a half second off Kostadanov, and so that's been a solid enough effort in terms of what the other drivers done. They were roughly around 8-9 tenths, and he's only a half second, and only 8 tenths off at middle sector. This is a great looking lap.
It is indeed. We'll just have to wait until he's having a run for the line. Misses the apex there a little bit, or is not taking quite a tight line as Jeffrey Rietveld was anyway, or Johnny Simoncic was even. And then across the final sector, where's it going to put him? 3rd, maybe? It does indeed, puts him 3rd on a 1:39.487, so hard tie run. Everyone playing their strategy out quite nicely, maybe going a hard, soft, hard, or a hard, hard, soft, one would assume, but good lap there from Bono. And now we have to hand it over to our guy who was fastest in qualifying 1, which is Peter Burlack.
Yep, Peter Burlack. We've had 2 drivers that have done soft tyre runs, and the rest of them have done hard tyre runs. Now it's the turn of Peter Burlack to see what he decides to do for Twister Racing, who have really elevated themselves back towards the forefront of Formula Sim Racing. 314 kilometres now, less downforce for the Twister Racing car. First gear as he uses down in turn number 3, and a solid enough exit, a little bit of wheel spin, a little bit of twitch. Got it sorted out though, up towards turn number 4. 7th gear will drop down into second. Over the crest, does he select first? No. He believes in that second gear will do enough for him. Holds a very tight line. Oh, he screws up the entry there a little bit. That could have been better. And there again as well, that's some interesting lines there from Burlack. Very, very different lines. But only 4/10 off. Wow, that's a faster sector one than what Huis did. So I should not question them lines whatsoever, because they have been spot on. Up towards turn 10 now. He's in 4th gear, dropping down to 2nd gear. Uses 2nd gear on the exit. Full faith in the rear of the car once again. Up to 6th gear, drops down to 3rd gear. For the left and then the right. This has been a solid enough mid-sector in all. It was 8/10 for Huis. It's 1.1. So he lost a lot of time in that mid-sector. You can see the downforce level difference there throughout the middle sector. And into the final sector now, it's 2nd gear. And he'll drive and power for the exit now. Round the final corner. He got a little bit of oversteer on the entry. Holds the exit well enough though. 6th gear. 7th. So we've seen a good sector 1. Not a good sector 2. And it's 1.7 off. And it's good enough for 4th place. So it's a solid enough drive for Peter Burlack and slots him into 4th place. But it's Bono Huis that is the fastest of the hard tyre runner. But pole position goes to Dion Kostadinov.
Yeah, Dion Kostadinov, not a name who I thought was going to get pole, but then everyone decided it would be a good idea to run hard tyres.
Well,
but that's
for a front row, though.
Fine. Yeah, that's going to be a very interesting front row and a very interesting run towards the first corner. Bono Huis, though, 3rd position. He's the man who can win the World Championship today. Peter Burlack, though, he won yesterday. Obviously, I don't think he's going to be winning today. But that is an excellent showing to put him on the front row of the people running harder tyres and in 4th position.
Well, just to help people understand this one, it's Dion Kostadinov that's taking pole position. A fantastic lap for him, a Crown 7 Net Rex. But Blair Disley he's in 2nd place for PSR. Both those drivers have opted to do soft tyre runs in qualifying. So likely go on the 2-stop strategy, which we believe is the most likely route for most of these drivers. They'll turn it into a soft, hard run for them. Whereas the rest of the drivers, 3rd on back, Edward Malorki opting in 10th position not to do a run. But then 3rd on backwards have done hard tyre runs, so the hard tyre pole position, if you like, goes to Bono Huis, with Peter Burlack, the Twister Racing, in 4th place. Simuncic ended up in 5th place for Go Speed, with Jeffrey Rietveld in 6th for GT Omega. His teammates directly behind him in 7th place, that's Jack Keithley. Precision Motorsports is Ivar Calamise. He's in 8th place, and he's the one that has the biggest job to do in trying to avoid Bono Huis in being crowned world champion today. Philip Pushka, he's in 9th place for Go Speed Racing, and Edward Malachy not doing a time in qualifying 2 for Twister Racing. He is in 10th place as we move to warm-up. So now we are into the warm-up session, but while these drivers just reacclimatise themselves with full tanks, we will have a word from our Thrustmaster sponsor. Okay, welcome back to live coverage of the 12th round of the Formula Sim Racing World Championship. And you are in the warm-up session with us at the moment, where we have just had a fantastic qualifying session, which has seen Dion Kostadinov take pole position for today's race in front of PSR, who have achieved a front row, which is magnificent for PSR. Really pleased for them. And Blair Disley is the driver that's taken that for PSR. It's going to be a great showing for them, and a bit of television and coverage time for them at the front of the field as well. And Blair Disley, a nice little return to form as well. And Lewis, I think we're in for a real treat, considering we've got that front row lockout before then we have all the hard tyre runners just behind.
Yep, indeed. And as someone who's driven cars on the high fuel and the soft tyres, I mean, like, what's the degradation like on them? Because there's got to be like a really large reason as to why they would, why you would run harder tyres in qualifying as opposed to the softer tyres. Is it really, really that bad on the soft tyres over the first stint, really, of what Dion Kostadinov and Blair Disley are going to be doing?
What you have to take into consideration with this is essentially the time lost and the time gained on the tyres is how much you believe you can make them last and how much you can utilise them. At the end of the day, you get towards the end of the race, and those soft tyres are actually going to last longer than what they do currently on a high fuel tank. So you get towards the end of the race, and where you can maybe do 6 or 7 at the start of the race, you're more likely to be able to do 11, maybe even 12 towards the end of the race. So you can actually find more benefit and more time from the soft tyre at the end of a race for a longer period of time than rather running at the very start of the race and trying to sprint away. Drivers can make it work, but usually if you're on the soft tyre, you need to be at the front, stay at the front, and run away at the front. But it's all about then how much you can use the hard tyres in the second and third stints and how much you believe in the pace that you have. So it's a very fine balancing act in which way you decide to run it and which way round you decide to run a strategy. The nature of the strategy today is likely to be two-stop, so it's a case of doing soft, hard, hard, or hard, hard, soft. Doing hard, soft, hard doesn't really work because the midpoint in the race, you're likely to going to have quite a bit of traffic. So that's the reason why they opt to do either hard, hard, soft or soft, hard, hard.
So there you go. That's how we're going to be looking at today, which is absolutely fine. But yes, thanks for clearing that one up. And that's exactly because this is the thing is that in FSR there's no refueling. You start with the fuel. Well, yeah, you don't finish with that fuel, but you've got to get to the end on it. And when you're doing this, that's when fuel saving and things like that becomes quite advantageous. You're not running 12 laps of fuel for a short sprint race. You're running 55 laps of fuel for a long race. That then maybe running a little bit low fuel, maybe a little bit higher fuel, depends on how advantageous it's going to be to you. And then all the tyre strategy is so absolutely crucial to get it right every single time. And it's hopefully we've got an interesting race. We've had two where we've had fights for the lead where it's shown 3 very different setups with advantages in the first sector for some and second sector for others and third sector for others. So it's hopefully we're going to have an interesting race strategy wise, wheel to wheel wise, hopefully. But if you have to lean anywhere, unfortunately I can't lean anywhere but Bono.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And just look at the times that we currently have in warm-up. It looks like both the Crown 7 Netrex drivers of Dion Kostadinov and Gergo Baldi. Gergo Baldi starting the very back of the field today. I believe that was due to late allocation and also not even sure if he was going to do the race, I believe, at one stage. But he is doing the race, and he's on a 43.8 on the softer tyres compared to a 44.4 of Dion Kostadinov. So these drivers are the hard tyres that are currently being run by Bono Cuisse, Jeffrey Rietveld, Eli Calamise and Jack Keithley. So pretty much a precision 1, 2, 3, 4 or 3, 4, 5, 6 if you like actually. They are running in the 45s currently, low to mid 45 range. Actually Keithley's on a 46.0. So I believe the start of the race we're likely to see the drivers dip into the 44.9, 44.8 region, depending on how quick they can get their tyres up to temperature and up to operating and working area. But yeah, the times are a touch slower than I thought they would be, but I'm looking at Bono Cuisse and Jeffrey Rietveld, a few other drivers around, and they're all stuck in traffic. So
there
that
is a
probably
lot of traffic
explains.
within the air.
Well,
there's a front
wow.
wing as well.
Oh wow! Massive accident there in warm-up. I believe one of the drivers was trying to enter pit lane there, and it's caught out Boniquis, Ivar Calamies, and Marcel van der Linden. And it was also Kovic that was trying to enter pit lane. Also, Kovic was trying to enter pit lane with basically Marcel van der Linden completely all over the back of him. Catch the back of him that is then rammed into by Ivar Calamies, and Boniquis has nowhere to go, flicks to the left, goes over the grass and straight into the wall. So 4 drivers there. So that just goes to show, to be quite honest with you, the way this circuit's been designed and the way that this circuit is with the pit lane, it's absolutely bloody ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I had this in World Series where I was saying that I don't mind this track as a whole, but if there's one thing I absolutely hate about this track, it is the pit lane, because both sides of it are completely illogical. You've got an entrance which is on a very fast corner that, to get into properly, you have to kind of go to the middle of the track and then bring it in while slowing down a lot, while someone else is probably behind you trying to overtake you, which is not good. Then you've got a sharp left-hander in there, which is very off-putting. And then the exit puts you straight out into turn 1. There's no dilly-daddling around. It's just left-hander, turn 1. That's about it.
Yeah.
And
now,
I really don't like it.
It's not good at all. And we've just seen what happens when there's a lot of drivers very, very close together as well. It's an absolute nightmare for drivers. Like you said, you've got to go from the middle of the track into the pit lane, where drivers are going at high speed around the more apex line, around the lower side of the track. The original reason that was put in place, for those that don't know, is apparently when the Korean designers and the infrastructure was put in place for this track, they wanted the backdrop of the ocean behind and the mountains behind it as well on TV. And that's simply all it's for, is the fact that from the grandstand on the other side of the track, they wanted that backdrop that goes over the water and to the mountains. And that's the only reason that it was put in place. What they should have really done, what really should be done, is that the pit lane should have been on the other side of the circuit, but it hasn't been done like that. The pit lane exit runs into the entrance of turn 1. Now, personally, if they wanted to do that, what I think they should have done is something similar to what they did in Valencia with the entry to pit lane, where they actually go all the way round the final corner. So you have to go deep in the final corner and round. So what they should have done is actually enter the pit lane in turn 2. Rather than turn 1, and actually have a deeper pit lane to sweep it all the way round. So essentially you're off the track. But for some reason they entered it in turn 1, and it's a terrible pit lane. I mean, even I got caught out by it, by the actual pit exit, and drivers steaming into turn 1 on a hot lap, and you're just trying to get out of pit lane to avoid any crashes going on behind you. So that's something we're going to have to watch out for today. And as Lewis has already pointed out, World Trophy and World Series have had issues over the past two races already.
Yeah, I think with the pit entry, the way to fix the pit entry is to basically have it bypass turn 17, basically, is where that goes left, is just to have the pit lane go straight. Now, that doesn't sound like a particularly brilliant idea, but it's better than having everyone slow down in the middle of the track of turn 17.
Exactly. If anyone has seen the IndyCar... if anyone's seen IndyCar from Baltimore this season, their entry to pit lane is about 4 corners prior to the start-finish line, due to the nature of the way it enters pit lane. So if anyone's seen that, now that's exactly what they should have done here. They should have entered it off of turn 16, actually, they could have done it. Exit turn 16 had a straight shoot into pit lane, and then had a much better exit on the exit as well of pit lane. So, we digress.
Yeah, it's all right. It stresses us all out. It stresses us all out.
yeah, exactly. But nevertheless, we are ready, and it is time for the race. Time for a race that is going to be very, very tough on drivers. It's a very demanding track in terms of braking. They need to watch their brakes. They'll need to watch their engines. They'll even need to watch their fuel consumption, because the fuel consumption around here is quite big. Due to nature going flat out for a first sector, then a very tricky second and third sector, the fuel consumption can be quite high. So you've got to look out for brakes, you've got to look out for the tyre wear, you've got to look out for everything. And on this formation lap in particular, for the drivers that have opted for soft tyres, they will have to go very, very careful. And it's a very long warm-up lap we're going to have here as well. So, pole position man is Dion Castaño for Crown 7 Netrex. We then have PSR's man, Biocross Positive Sim Racing, Blair Disley, he is in second place. Bono Huis, the pole position man of hard tyres, if you like, for Precision Motorsports, and on to be world champion today. If he outscores Ivar Calamise by 16 points, he's in third. Peter Burlak, the star of World Series, he is in fourth place after a very good hard tyre qualifying run as well. Ernie Simončić for Go Speed Racing, he is in fifth, with Jeffrey Rietveld for GT Omega in sixth position, followed up by his teammate Jack Keithley in seventh, and then Bono Huis' teammate Ivar Calamise in eighth place. So we've got a GT Omega, so it's pretty much precision, 6, 7 and 8 there. With Philip Pushka for Go Speed Racing, he is in ninth. Edwin Malachy, who opted out of qualifying too, he has not gone out and qualifying and has changed and has decided to go on for fresh tyres at the back of the top 10 for Twister Racing. With Eros Mashguli for Pescara, that's the one, I can't think of their name then, for Pescara, he's in 11th place with Carlos Martin in 12th position. That's a very good qualifying for the Fast and Speed driver actually there. A great job from Carlos Martin there, who's usually a World Trophy driver, I believe, and he's put himself 12th in the World Championship. That's very, very handy for him, so that's a guy that's improving. And Lewis, I will let you run through the rest of the field.
Yep, speaking of Carlos Martin, he was actually 12th in a lot earlier on today anyway, so good job from him. But behind him is Franz Schneider, followed by Zuhaitz Carbo, and Alex Diaz, so JSP in P14 and P15. Chris de Jong is in 16th, Peter Helmbro is in 17th, then it's Marconi, Ruud Home in 18th and 19th, Osler Kovic is in 20th position, Marcel van der Linden is in 21st, his teammate all the way up on the front row of the grid, and then Zoltan Stuti and Gergo Baldi right in the back of the grid in 22nd and 23rd.
I think we're going to have an entertaining race from the back of the field as well, because Marcel van der Linden has been very strong in the past few races, been having a great drive as Marcel van der Linden. Zoltan Schutte is a very, very fast driver, great qualifier, but it's not qualified for Brem GP here. And Gergo Baldi, we've always seen how good he is, and around the Nürburgring made that magnificent, magnificent podium when he was third. But now they have lined up on the grid, and we are waiting for the lights. These lights are very hard to see because they're behind the Thrustmaster sign. But here we go, we've got 5 red lights. And we are going, Korea. That's a great launch off the line for Bono Huis, but it's the better start for Blair Disley. He's going to go side by side with Kostadinov, is he? Not quite. He's going to go up the inside. He'll try to slip up the inside, but can't get it done. Oh, a touchdown from Burlak on Huis. Burlak's gone backwards. Huis has held on to third place. Simončić with a magnificent start. Rietveld's come forward as well. He's up behind the Go Speed driver. Huis is going to try and chase down Blair Disley. And we've got a scrap going on behind. It's Calamise, Rietveld. They're both attacking you. Ernie Simončić. To the outside goes Ivar Calamise with a magnificent break-in, and he's going to follow his teammate. That's for the championship. He's up to 4th place, is Ivar Calamise. Wonderful start there for Ivar Calamise. Simončić is in 5th. Rietveld is under heavy fire from Peter Burlak, who's going around the outside of him at turn 4. But Rietveld's held the inside line. Can he get it on exit? No, he can't. Twitch from Burlak. Rietveld holds on 6th place. Keithley is 7th. As he's just got Burlak now also, so it's Rietveld, the 2 GT Omega drivers in front of the Twister racing car driver.
Crash the back. I didn't see who that was. It was a Pescara car.
Eros Mashuli's had an issue there, and it looks like Marconi's had an issue. Diaz.
Lakovic is out, I think.
Yeah, there's a few drivers going very, very slow in the midsection there. Oh, Philip Pushka's gone wide in turn 10 as well. I think Pushka's the one that's had the major issue. Pushka's gone wide, and he's under heavy fire from Franz Schneider now. Zoltan Schutte attacking the Twister racing cars. Rietveld's gone wide and it's allowed Simončić to run. Osakovic is retired from this race. Dio Kostadinov's the man leading the way though from Blair Disley. And Bono Huis is in 3rd with Ivar Calamise, his teammate and championship rival, just behind. Rietveld's in 5th after fending off from Ernie Simončić. Simončić 6th with Keithley, who's then going to be under heavy fire from Peter Burlak.
Yeah, but excellent stuff from Ivar.
Keithley's got a great exit. Look at Keithley's exit. Great, going down to turn 1. Can he got the inside of Simončić? I don't think he will. He'll follow him through turn 1 and 2. And he'll try and pick up the throttle nice and early. He does that indeed. Rietveld's had a bit of a nightmare out of 2 as well as he oversteers the exit. Now, has he got any sort of toe off Rietveld? It doesn't look like he has. And Keithley's closing in on Simončić. This is GT Omega on Go Speed. How close can he get to him? Oh, wow, the Simončić's straight line speed is superb, though. He's closed right in on Simončić. Oh, a big dive from Keithley. I go straight up the inside of 4. What a move. Sorry, turn 3. Magnus so late under braking there, and he made it stick. Keithley's into 6th place. He's now got to defend it. And here comes Peter Burlak. Round the outside goes Simončić. can't get it done. Jack Keithley has done a great job there, but can he hold the next right-hander? No, he can't. Simončić has got that position back, or has he? Yes, he has.
Yeah, good move from Simončić there. And from Keithley as well earlier on in the race. But Ivar Calames, I think he's had the best start to move himself up into 4th position and to stop Bono from taking his 4th championship today, if he can keep that together for the next 54 laps. A long way to go, but it's looking pretty good for Ivar Calames, who was the winner here last year.
It's a very, very long way to go, but those two precision drivers have had cracking starts. And Bonacuisse is getting his tyres up to championship nice and early as well, because he's already starting to pressure Blair Disley, who's on soft tyres. Kostadinov making a good effort of pulling away at the front. That's a very solid work, what he's doing there for Dion Kostadinov as he exits the final corner. What sort of lap time is he going to produce outright first time round? A 45.2, followed by a 45.9, a 45.7. So Huis is on a late 45 on harder tyres, and on soft tyres, Blair Disley's done a high 45. So that goes to show that Huis got some good pace. What did Calames do? He did a 46.1. Alright, that's not a bad start there from the two position drivers on the harder compound tyre. Riveld also did a 46.1. Simončić, and looks like we're going to go side by side for Suti and Keithley. Suti's gone up the inside of Keithley at turn 3. The Brem GP driver has gone forwards. Wow! Suti was at the back of the field.
Yeah, Suti's had an excellent start. I mean, I saw him moving up past a couple of people earlier on. I see also a few in the background going off, or that could just be my lag. But Zoltan Suti, excellent start.
Yeah, magnificent start for Zoltan Suti, who's on those soft tyres from the back of the field and already finds himself in 7th position, starting to chase down Ernie Simončić. And Peter Burlak, who was great in qualifying, had a bit of a nightmare start going through turn 1 and 2, went backwards in the field. He's now starting to threaten Jack Keithley. And Edward Malorki is going with him as well. So Malaki and Burlak, the two Twister Racing drivers, are probably going to follow each other and try and chase them down at the front. Now, at the front, it's still Kostadinov from Disley, from Huis, from Calames. So let's just see what the next time round, what the drivers can do. Disley's starting to find a rhythm because he's come towards Dean Kostadinov. Disley's starting to find a rhythm. He's pulling away from Huis and going towards Kostadinov. This is really good from the PSR driver here at the moment. As Kostadinov goes through the final corner. 4th up to 5th gear. Nice exit for him. It's a 45.2 last time round. And it's a 40... Oh, it's not much better, in fact. And it's a 45.4 from Disley. A full half-second improvement there for him on the soft tyres. Lovely run there on that last lap. Yep, Suti's gone up another spot. So he's now trying to chase down... That's Jeffrey Rietveld's the next man.
Yeah, he's had an absolutely excellent start. By the end of the first lap, he was up to 10th. He's jumped up 2 positions the next lap, 2 positions the next lap. And if he has 2 positions this lap, then he'll be right on the back of Bono Huis. So that's always an interesting, fun fact. Simončić, though, have a little look. Definitely not close enough. But we're having a little bit of... I've seen a little bit of lag. Not as much as I saw when I first joined the server, but a little bit nevertheless. Bono Huis, though, 1 second over the back of Blair Disley, who's currently still sticking to his 2nd position. But remember that the top 2, Dean Kostadinov and Blair Disley, are on the softer tyre. And your top 10 at the moment is Kostadinov, Disley, Huis, Calames. Rietveld is in 5th position. Zoltan Suti making very quick progress up into 6th. Simončić is in 7th. Jack Keithley in 8th. Peter Burlak dropping down to 9th position and is now going to come under attack from, in fact, Malorki, who is his World Series teammate as well. So that's exactly what's happening within the top 10. And Twister picking their line-up again, as they did last time out from the World Series.
Yeah, it seems to be what Twister are doing at the moment with splitting their drivers across both series. I don't think they've found full stability back in that team yet, but they're trying their best. I admire them for it. It's been a shaky few years for them, but they seem to be dusting themselves down nicely, and I think they've got a very strong prospect in Peter Burlak, who is doing a pretty healthy drive in World Series, and Edward Malaki is in 10th position. Just in front, has Zoltan Suti made any more progress? No, and he's starting to oversteer on those soft tyres already as well on lap 5. But Kostadinov's away at the front, 45.2. He's 2.3 seconds in front of Blair Disley. and 1.1 seconds further back is Bono Huis, and Calamise is keeping within 1.2 of Bono Huis as well, and Rietveld is getting closer to Calamise in fact, so Rietveld's only 6 cents behind Calamise, so it looks like Rietveld could be threatening Ivar Calamise as well.
Yep, indeed. Calamise looking like he's going to be under attack anytime soon. And don't forget, he's the one that's second in the championship. And it currently, though, is technically a precision 1-2. Technically, if you think about it that way. However, we don't really know where Dejan Kostadinov and Blair Disley are going to fizzle their way through this. However, the gap between the lead, 2.6 seconds. Dejan Kostadinov going pretty well indeed. We're on lap 5 of 55, and we'll just have to wait and see how long can Kostadinov and Disley go in this race. You already said that Zoltan Sutis may be going off just a little bit, understeering, oversteering, not really looking too comfortable in that car as it is. Still going pretty quickly though is Zoltan Suti, and he is actually closing up to the back of Jeffrey Rietveld. But a big lock up on the front right there for Zoltan, and hopefully going to move himself through the field just a little bit more. But considering he started from towards the back, he's made some extremely good progress towards the front, and maybe looking at some decent points.
Good lap from Kostadinov. That was a faster lap, the fastest lap that he's currently done as well, of 45.1. So it was the 10th improvement on lap 5 of soft tyres. He's on to lap 6, and they won't last much more longer. It's Disley and Bono is getting very, very close to Blair Disley's slipstream already. Remember, these guys are, well, Disley is on soft tyres, Bono is on hard tyres, and he's 6/10 behind, and he's getting very, very close to being able to threaten that slipstream of Blair Disley. So,
oh, Jack Keithley and Jonas Simoncic. Nope, sorry, it's Jack Keithley and Peter Burlack who are going side by side. Peter Burlack trying to get his way back up into 8th position. However, Keithley's gone a little bit wide, and Burlack's gone through, moves himself up into 8th. Maybe Keithley's struggling a little bit at this point in the race.
Yeah, it was a full four-wheel slide there as well that he had going on for Keithley. Malachi's going to be threatening as well, but Burlack's moved himself up into 8th place, and he'll try and now chase down Ernie Simoncic. And Suti, he's also on the soft tyres, kind of out of position in terms of what we've seen him. Seeing so at the back of the field come through up to 7th place. When he pits and goes onto the harder compound tyre, he's going to be he's going to be loving that, isn't he, really? Because he would have made up so much ground already that he can just take a steadier second stint than probably would have had to previously, because he's sitting in 6th currently.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, it could work out actually really nicely for Zoltan Suti. Bono Huis, though, locking up his front left going into turn 15, and is ever closing on the back of Blair Disley across the line. The gap is about 6/10 of a second, or 7/10 of a second between the two of them, so Huis is definitely closing in. And down this straight, this is where we assume most of the overtaking could be happening, is down into turn 3 or into turn 4. We've already seen quite a bit of it, and I think it's interesting to see how down this straight, how different the lines are between when you're looking at World Series, World Trophy and World Championship. It's the different lines they're all taking. It's quite interesting.
Absolutely, and we've got Jeffrey Rietveld that's closed right up on Ivar Calamise. Calamise has fallen back from Huis, and Rietveld's come towards Calamise, and he's bringing Zoltan Suti with him in that Bremen GP, also on the softer compound tyres. And Huis is getting very, very close to Disley. Now, if Disley's been able to hold him off for the entirety of this opening stint, it'd be mightily impressive from Blair Disley, because those tyres eventually will just fall off the edge of a cliff. They'll be screaming, and Bono Huis will be all over him. Running in the mid-45s at the moment. I must admit, I thought they'd be going a touch faster than this. I thought they would have been down possibly in the 44s. But as it stands at the moment, they're in the mid-45s, which is very, very healthy and respectable in the times they're doing. And Disley is doing a great job on those soft tyres as well. But that Precision Motorsports car is getting more and more menacing in the mirrors. And that PSR car must be looking pretty big for Bono Huis right about now. And he must be thinking about lining up an overtake, as Dejan Kostadinov has stretched his legs to 2.5 seconds at the front of the field.
Yep, indeed. And it's just about when Dejan Kostadinov and Blair Disley are going to pit. They're staying out for an 8th lap on these tyres, and it's just about how long these are going to last. That's going to be the key thing. is how long are they going to last until they kind of drop off. Wouldn't say they're in their best of nick at the moment, and they're possibly thinking about pitting any time soon. Though Dianka Stadnov is still going quite nicely at the front, but I think Huis is probably lapping faster at the moment.
He's in the slipstream of Blair Disley as well. He's pulled out. Is that because he can brake later? Well, he had full faith in braking later, but Disley braked very late as well. So, can he do on the exit of 3? Disley's got a good exit there, so no, Huis will get close to him, but not close enough to make an overtake up towards turn 4. Let's go see what's going on back down the field. Calamise, Rietveld and Suti are still pretty much the same. Simoncic is starting to close up, and so is Burlak. Keithley is under heavy fire from Maliki still, and he's bringing Philip Pushka along with him as well. Philip Pushka, who is sitting fifth in the championship on 87 points, a point behind his teammate Morgan Ran, who's now retired. And Franz Schneider doing a solid job as well. He's in 12th currently, with Chris de Jong in 13th.
Yep. Oh, Blair still keeping in front of Bono, who looking like he could be getting through at any point. The gap between the two of them over the first sector was 0.4 of a second, so it's definitely shorter. But this is when, as I said, that the setup differential between the two cars actually doesn't look too different between Blair Disley and Bono Huis, in the fact of, you know, which sectors they're faster on. But I mean, it was really extreme in World Series and World Trophy. We saw some drivers gaining 7/10 in the first sector, but then dropping those 7/10 again in sectors 2 and 3, and Dianka Stadnov was in, yes.
Yeah, race leader Dianka Stadnov has come into pit lane. So those soft tyres are lasted just 8 laps, and Lewis, this is what we're referring to before. These soft tyres will go longer at the end of the race, likely to be around about 11 or 12, and he's already in on lap 8. So away he goes, Dianka Stadnov. And out in front now for PSR is Blair Disley. He crossed the line in the lead, but he's not going to hold that lead for much longer, because up the inside comes Bono Huis on those harder compound tyres, brakes deeper and goes into turn 3, sweeps around the inside, holds the line, and he has made it. Excellent move from Bono Huis there, and he's gone up into the lead of the race. It was short-lived for PSR. I think Bono Huis has been struggling with a little bit of lag there from Blair Disley. His car was jumping about slightly, so he made the car very wide on the entry into turn 3 to make sure that stuck, and it did stick. So Bono Huis takes the race lead, and Blair Disley is in 2nd, and now it's going to be the next precision car of Ivar Calamise chasing him down, with Rietveld in 4th. Now let's just look back further down the field. Where did Dianka Stadnov came out? He came out behind Eros Masciuli in 13th place. So, if he come out just in front of Masciuli, he had completely free air. He would have had free air, and now he's stuck behind Masciuli. That's not quite worked for Crown 7 Net Rex. If he gets past Masciuli soon, it will work nicely for him. So Huis is away at the front. Blair Disley is in 2nd. Let's see if Calamise can do.
Yeah, I kind of think actually that Disley will be pitting at the end of this lap. We'll just have to check as he's heading around the final sector now. He's definitely holding Calamise up at this specific point in time, and this is the awkward pit lane that we've all spoken about. Is he going to hang left? He isn't going to hang left. Interesting. So Blair Disley going around for yet another lap, and I think he's going to be dropping the 2 positions to Calamise and Rietveld pretty soon. Interesting though, the Zoltan Suti.
Oh wow! Wow, Rietveld with a massive dive in turn 1. He tried to get the inside Calamise, and he just about pulled the car up and thought better of it. But this has given Calamise a great run on Blair Disley. The PSR car is going backwards. Those soft tyres have completely gone off. He should have pitted. He needed to go into pit lane. We're going to go 3 wide into turn 3. Up the inside goes Jeffrey Rietveld, slides his way by Calamise, and he gets the job done. Incredible move. The GT Mega driver's gone up into 2nd place, takes 2 positions in 1 corner. They both get the PSR driver. The PSR driver's now been passed by Zoltan Suti as well. So the PSR driver, Blair Disley's now down to 5th.
Yeah, that is exactly what I was just about to bring up, is that Blair Disley, his tyres seem to be gone. But Zoltan Suti, if he's running the soft as well, which we would completely assume he is, his don't seem to be dropping off quite as fast. As Zoltan Suti could be running a lot longer and a bit deeper into the race if his tyre wear isn't too bad. I know a couple of drivers whose tyre wear is definitely not as bad. I mean, not in this league, but like it's so simple how some people can figure out all the driving. It's just smooth on the throttle and things like that, and it just automatically fixes quite a bit of tyre wear issues. Unfortunately, some drivers it's not natural to do, and even when you're thinking about it, then you're not thinking about driving around the track as much, and you could be losing time anyway. Peter Burlack is the next person to get past Blair Disley, and he's not going to do it just yet. Blair Disley, though, completely out of shape through turn 14.
Yep, so Rietveld has gone up into second place. Calamise is in third. This still works out in terms of the championship because this is still all right points.
He's still not going in.
Sooty pits though. Sooty's dived into pit lane and opted to get rid of those soft tyres, but Disley still has not pitted, and this is just compromising his race so badly. He should have pitted already. He's now going to come under fire from Peter Burlack as Calamise and Rietveld are going to go at it. So it's Precision 1, 2, 3 pretty much, with the GT Omega, the sister team, in the middle of the Precision and full team sandwich. And Burlack has already passed Disley on the approach to turn 3. He's come back at him under braking, but can't get the job done there, and through he goes. And on the exit, can Simoncic get the drive? He can get the drive, but Keithy's going to have the tow. Ooh, just about. He just about moved anyway, but up the inside is going to go Simoncic on Disley as well. He does indeed. That's another position lost. Up the inside goes Simoncic, and following him goes Jack Keithy. Yeah, Blair Disley, you should have pitted a long time ago, sir. The lap 8 was when Simoncic came in.
Should have been a couple of laps ago, unfortunately.
Yeah,
and it's just not working out for him now. He's dropping back left, right and centre all the time.
Not Simoncic, Kostanov. But in the meantime, while that's been going on, Kostanov has got by Eros Mashuli into that clear air of 4.2 seconds, and he should be able to start to submit some good lap time. 44.6 is what he's done. So a solid drive here already from Dean Kostanov into that clear air.
Yeah, Malorki now going on the inside of turn 11, on the outside of turn 12, and have actually made it stick. So great there, and there goes Pushka as well. So Blair Disley dropping left, right and centre. He's still in the top 10, but in P9, and currently dropping to the person who I would have thought he might have been battling with, which is Pontian Kostadinov. He's only 2 positions behind now. And that's only a few seconds. He should have pitted ages ago.
Oh, massively. Look at the difference.
Here we go. Oh. Sorry, Schneider got very close.
Very close. Very, very close. Kostanov was only 4.5 seconds behind when Disley entered pit lane. That just gives you some sort of idea of just how much time he's lost. He was only 2.8 seconds behind when Kostanov pitted. That is an incredible amount of time to drop. Blair Disley and PSR, you have got that wrong, unfortunately. You should have pitted much, much sooner. And away Blair Disley goes. He's out of the pit lane now in 15th place and in front of Gergo Baldi. Oh no, Baldi's pitted in fact. So it'll be Chris de Jong who has already pitted. In 15th place goes Blair Disley and he's 6.1 seconds behind Carlos Martin. Yeah,
wasn't a great strategy choice there, and as much as I'm not a strategy expert, but that was wrong unfortunately, and I don't see that one working into the favour of Blair Disley at all, unless he can now magic the harder tyres until the end of the race, which I don't think he will be able to, and even then, I don't really know if that's going to be hugely advantageous to him.
No, there's no chance of being able to do that.
Exactly.
Not to the end of the race. You'll probably get close, but the tyres would just fall like we've just seen the soft tyres fall, so that wasn't going to work. We lost Robert Rudlam, unfortunately, also now.
Yeah, indeed, Blair Disley. 15th position. And that car's going to be feeling pretty good under him now, especially considering he's dropped off of those horrible self-to-compound tyre. The gap between the lead, jumping all the way to the front, is 3.8 seconds. It's across the line. Yep, it is 3.8 seconds. Didn't really change too much. Between Bono Huis and Jeffrey Rietveld, with Igor Calamise about 1.1 seconds behind. So it's looking pretty good for Bono at the moment. And we've only had a couple of DNFs, and that is from Luka Oslakovic on the first lap, and Robert Rood. What we got? We got Keith John Simoncic. Rightio.
We do indeed. Keithy on Simoncic, and Keithy's going up the inside of turn 3 and brakes later, hooks it round, goes deep into the corner, switch back there for Simoncic is on though. He gets the cut back underneath the driver of Jack Keithy, and now it's going to be on the outside up towards turn 4. Good straight line speed for Go Speed once again. Under braking though, Keithy holds it. 4-wheel slide again. He's done the same thing as he did before. That's gone wrong. Oh! A big moment for both drivers there. They both switched on exit, and that's compromised both of them.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much status quo, but a better exit for Keithy. He's not going to be able to do much on the chase down towards turn 7, 8 and 9, and he can't. What's the exit going to be like? Oh, he shouldn't have lifted the throttle. Oh, can he got the inside of turn 9? No, he can't. Simoncic fights back. Oh, Simoncic hit the curb, then went into Keithley, and Keithley nudged him. There was nothing Keithley could have done there, because Simoncic hit the inside curb. And up the inside goes Jack Keithley. Now, Race Direction may have something to say on that, but he hit the inside curb, so there's nothing Keithley could have done there. And, oh, look at that. Malachi's just jumped Pushka. Oh, he's not quite, in fact. He's going to try and jump Pushka, but Pushka's held his line.
Yeah, it's a bit of a scrappy battle, but
Simoncic is really struggling.
Yeah, he is.
Really
He's got a bit of a train behind him now, unfortunately.
Good exit there from Philip Pushka as well, who's got the run on Keithley. Battle looking towards the front. The gap between Huis and Rietveld's 4 seconds. And what's the exit going to be like for Jack Keithley here on Simoncic? It's good. It's very good. But we've already seen the Ghost Speed drivers have got a lot of straight line speed, and out of the slipstream goes Jack Keithley. But look, he's lost it already as soon as he pulls out. He's basically got to push him because the other Ghost Speed driver, Philip Pushka, is going to have him. Breaking into turn 3, sweeping around the outside. Can he get it done? Oh, Keithley's pushed. Oh. He's nerfed him wide. Pushka's gone up past Simoncic as well. And Keithley's now under heavy fire from both Ghost Speeds, and there's a twister at the back of that as well, saying, you lot have your own accident, I'm going to go around the outside of you, and that's exactly what he's doing. Keithley, oh, bad traction on exit, and that's allowed Malachi up the inside. A little bit of rubbing again, a little bit of touching. You've got to go careful with these drivers, it's a little bit tricky through here. But Keithley's held on to 6th place, and Pushka now has gone up into 5th place, and Simoncic is at the back of this queue in 8th.
Yeah, Frank Schneider having a look.
Frank Schneider!
Oh, he got... debatable that was. I kind of put that more on Schneider going
sideways to Malachi.
Yeah.
Malachi in 10 was sideways trying to go past Keithley.
And now he's under attack by Simoncic, who's going on the outside of 10-11. He's going to be on the inside of 12. But not quite got it. Interesting. That's the nature of this track, is it's sometimes a bit hard to make a move, because it goes one way, then it goes the next, it goes one way, then it goes next, and you've got to have the move done if you're on the inside by the next corner. It's quite difficult after that, and that's what we're seeing quite a bit of now. However, Milwaukee up into 7th position. Jack Keithley kind of running away from that a little bit, as is Philip Pushka, but you can see quite clearly how much Jenny Simoncic. Oh, wow, that was a bit late on the braking. He's missed it and has dropped back another 2 positions. Very lucky not to take out Milwaukee.
Kostanov just pushed him right out on the grass as well. Kostanov is coming back through the field after making his early pit stop. On much fresher tyres, it's just gone up into 9th place, but it was a little bit rude what he did to Simoncic.
Yeah,
nevertheless,
that was a little bit rude.
It was indeed. Pushka's now 5th, Keithley's 6th, Malachi's 7th, and 8th is Franz Schneider. And as I was saying before, the fact I thought these drivers being the 44s, sure enough, as soon as Huis has dispatched that dirty air of the soft tyre run, he was into the 44s straight away, and he's now done a 44.4. So Jeffrey Rietveld's 44.8. Calamise is still lapping in the 45s. Burlak's in the 44s as well, and he is catching Calamise. Burlak has really caught Calamise a lot just recently. So he's 7/10 off him now. So he could see a battle between Precision and Twister. This is not really what Calamise wants, because if he keeps going backwards and Huis holds it, Huis potentially still could be on for the championship today.
Indeed, he does, but he's got to get his strategy right and make sure he nails every single one of these laps. Dejan Kostanov trying to get round Simoncic. Yes, he does. Once again. So Dejan Kostanov up into 9th position. But Bono Huis still technically in position for the championship. And I think, to be honest, for Precision, I mean, even though GT Omega is part of that, I think they'd rather it. I don't think it really matters to them. It's just kind of like secure it. Either way, secure it. Just do it. And that's exactly what Bono is going out to do. 4.4 seconds between Bono and Jeffrey Rieveld. And Ivar Calamise, who is a further 3 seconds behind that.
Bono Huis did a great job, and once again his consistency is prevailing, although Rietveld has just lapped within a 10th of him. He's brought his time down to a 44.5, so a great last lap there from Jeffrey Rietveld. The gap between them was 4.3 seconds. That's pretty much stabilised. It was 4 seconds a few laps ago, so Rietveld is lapping pretty much the same as what Huis is currently. Calamise has really dropped off, and he is under fire now from the Twister Racing driver of Peter Burlak. Oh, he's going up the inside there. That's ambitious. and audacious, but no, he does not do it. He opts out of it at the very last moment. Burlak's got a completely different line from any other driver going through turns 4, 5 and 6. It's so wildly different from anyone else, and actually set up an overtake on Calamies.
Yeah, I think it's faster through that sector, but it's like for that tiny sector between 4, 5 and 6. But it's after that, like on the exit of 6, that's where he's losing a little bit of time, and that's why it's not really too good for getting an overtake on past then. But it's working for him. Other than that,
good for qualifying, not so great for race.
Yeah, one would agree. He has dropped quite a long way back in this race when you consider that he qualified in 4th position, which, yes, okay, that is where he's running, but that is with the 2 soft tyre runners, which was Blair Disley and Jan Kostadinov, out of the way. Also, shout out, Blair Disley is in 15th place behind Carlos Martin and is closing that gap in just a little bit, and Jan Kostadinov, though, is in 9th position. That is the difference between those two, and that is why we think Blair Disley went far too far on those softer compound tyres earlier on in the race, and it's cost him quite dearly.
Just to give you some reference of lap time as well, we're on lap 17 of the race. Bonacuis, the fastest lap of the race, is a 1:44.4. Now, Blair Disley has been on the soft tyres, he's pitted, he's come back out again on fresh hard tyres, so it's not going to be as quick as what it should be anyway, but he's done a 44.5 on brand new hard tyres and lower fuel, where Bonacuis has been on that high fuel at the start and has not even been to pit lane yet, and is also doing mid 44s. That gives you some sort of reference at just the speed that Huis is going at the moment.
Yeah, we all know that Huis is a ridiculously quick driver, and when he gets it right, he can do it again and again and again, and that is why he's currently leading the race by 5.383 of a second. And it kind of working out for him at the moment for his 4th championship. However, back to Kostadinov and Schneider. Schneider is in front of Kostadinov at the moment. We all know that Kostadinov is going pretty damn quickly at the moment.
Kostadinov is closing in, and he's using those tyres well. He's done a 44.6 as his fastest, so again, relative to what Huis has done, that's almost identical. Well, it's 2/10 difference in fact, but he's already been put through pit lane and got lower fuel when he took those tyres on. He's getting pretty menacing on the back of Franz Schneider though now, and he's going to look to try and get past the Ash Racing driver. Not a great run through the final corner, so I think there'll be a few more corners yet before he gets back onto him.
Yep, so Dejan Kostadinov is trying to make his way through. He's running on a different strategy to what a lot of the people that he's coming up to. He's on quite a different strategy, if I'm honest. And if they're doing 2 stops and things like that, he's already made 1 of his stops. He's got a second one to make. Dejan Kostadinov pulls out, brakes very late, good on the brakes. Is Dejan Kostadinov, and he's moving himself up into P8. But is he going to come under fire before turn 4? That's a question which is just about to be answered.
It certainly is, and up the inside. Oh wow, he's gone sideways. Both of them have gone sideways, in fact. Kostadinov gone round the outside of him in 4 and held it in 5. Good move. Can he hold the line? Oh, just about. He's got the position. Kostadinov goes up into 8th. Good work. Schneider had nowhere to go. He ran out of grip there.
That was a very good move from Kostadinov, forcing the error. And Schneider now demoted down into 9th position, but as I said, they are on very, very different strategies. And Kostadinov in 8th, after leading quite a lot of this race and sitting on pole position, is making some nice progress through the field, which is definitely good for him, and hopefully he can score some decent points today.
Hopefully he can, yeah. And we're on to lap 19, so he should be getting these hard tyre runners in fairly soon, I would have thought, to make their first round of pit stops, as Jeffrey Rietveld continues in 2nd place and Ivar Calamies in 3rd. This race is being broadcast actually live on YouTube, so if you guys on YouTube are watching it on YouTube, then make sure you do comment. There's a comment section below, so make sure you throw some comments out there and get chatting and communicating about the race, and let us know what you think of this race. And as I say that, Peter Burlak is nearly off the inside of Calamies in 3, but not quite close enough. Now can he get the run up towards turn 4? He's still in the slipstream, Calamies moves to the right-hand side, tries to shake off the toe, can't get it done. Can Burlak go up the inside? No, Calamies is good on the brakes again. Oh, he's touching, he's nearly nerfing him round there as Peter Burlak is carrying more speed.
Indeed. Also, where's Simoncic? Yep, Simoncic is back. He has indeed pitted. So Jerne Simoncic is back in 15th position.
Making his first stop there, yep.
Yeah, so we are at the point where we suspect some people to be stopping. I'd say probably pushing it a couple of laps more would have created itself a safer strategy when you consider that the softer compound tyre, you said, you can run about 12 laps in it towards the end of the race. If you can push that to 15, that's pretty good. But even if you can push that to 15, then you're looking at, say, something like a 20, and then a 15, and that'll do you 55. But obviously, with fuel and things like that, the less fuel you have in the car, the less degradation on the tyre. So it's quite a complicated scenario. And only the driver knows best in this situation, as Jerne Simoncic goes a little bit wide, but gets it under control before turn 10. 6.8 seconds, the gap between the leaders. They've crossed the line for the 19th time, as they are on lap 20 now.
We got some more pitting now as well. Filip Puška's dived in the pit lane, and so has Jack Keithley.
And Bob Malorki.
And Malorki. And the Namas Shuley's come into pit lane as well and nearly get hit by Zoltan Suti there as well. So that was very, very close. So Malaki's in, Puška's away. And away he goes. Keithley's away as well. Yep, Keithley's away. And so is Malorki. Diaz goes through. So does Martin and Disley. Look at that, Disley's still in front. So Disley's still in front of Puška, Keithley and Malaki. Now they're obviously going to be on fresh tyres, and they'll probably go up to Disley quite quickly, but Disley's done a good job on these tyres. He's in the slipstream, in fact, of Carlos Martin. This is going to be over 9th position. He's getting very close to him. Oh, wow. That was a late defence for Carlos Martin. Can he go around the outside? No, he can't. He's gone too wide, Blair Disley. Oh, he got the exit, though. A good exit there for Blair Disley. Even though he ran wide, it was a good exit. And Carlos Martin can't do anything about that. And Blair Disley is going to go up into 9th place. He does indeed. So it's then Filip Puška, Jack Keithley and Edward Malaki, who have just made their pit stops, going to cruise up to the back of these guys fairly sharpish.
Yeah, I mean, in the consideration that we do both assume, and quite a few people in the comment section also assume that Blair Disley...
Well. Burlak's already got Calamies as well. It looks like they're all going to start filtering in. Yeah, race leader Bonacuisse is into pit lane. Bonacuisse into pit lane, as is what's Jeffrey Rietveld doing. He's in also.
He's pit lane.
Rietveld is in. Burlak's carried on.
Okay.
And Calamies is in.
Right.
So Burlak's going the longest of these drivers. Burlak goes through to do another lap.
Dejan Kostadynov's dropped it. Dejan Kostadinov has let the rear go at turn 16 and has clobbered the wall a little bit, which is a shame because he could be jumping quite a few of these.
He would have been. What's going to happen with Huis, though? Kostadyinov is going to be behind Huis, but in front of Rietveld and Calamies.
But if he hadn't made that mistake, he would have been in front of Huis.
Well, he's certainly been a lot closer because it's 2.8 seconds the gap.
Yeah, it was quite an iffy mistake that would have cost him all the way down the straight. I think he would have come out side by side with Huis, which is such a shame for Kostadinov. However, third position is what he has to deal with. And there's some movement through the field. Bonacuisse, though, comes out in second position behind Blair Disley. Blair Disley,
look
Peter
at the scrap behind. Look at the scrap down through the field. We've got Keithley, who's going to get Carlos Martin. Filip Puška's already got him. And look at the speed of that Twister racing car from Edward Malaki going up towards turn 3. That's incredible straight line speed. And he's going to go round the outside.
Oh, Keithley's round.
Oh, he stalled it. Oh, no. Jack has stalled it. Oh, he's a really good man. He's got it going. Excellent work, Jack Keithley, there to keep that going. I thought he'd stalled the car. He drops it into neutral pretty much instantly. I thought just completely gone for him. But no, he's got it going. Excellent work there from Jack Keithley. He's down in 14th, but I think there was an element of clipping the curb and being completely squeezed in the middle. And there was nowhere really he could go, and he ended up sending the car around. Malaki's in 9th, Puška's in 8th. They're chasing down Blair Disley. Ivar Calamies is trying to chase down Zoltan Suti, with Rietveld in 4th in free clear air to try and close down on Dejan Kostadinov. And Peter Burlak's now in. Race leader Peter Burlak into pit lane for Twister Racing.
Yeah, Bono's going to take this quite easily, as here he goes. Peter hasn't even jumped into his pit lane, so there goes Bonacuisse into the lead as they've crossed the line. And Kostadinov, yeah, past Burlak as well. Rietveld past Burlak. Suti and Ivar Calames both past Burlak.
Yeah.
Burlak is
Where's
quite close to the
Disley?
back of.
That Burlak's made some ground there. Well, no, Burlak was in front of Calames, so that goes to show how the undercut works. There's a proof of how the undercut works, because Peter Burlak was in front of Ivar Calames prior to the stop, and he's come up behind him at 1.5 seconds.
Indeed.
So Ivar Calames has made those tyres work, and he's got them up to tension nice and quick, and now Burlak's got it all to do again.
Yeah, a long time left in this race though, and enough time to hopefully make things work. But, oh, we've got a few people coming under attack in the background. Who is that? That's Blair Disley trying to attack Philip Pushka. Quite possibly. Is he going to do it for turn 4? Blair Disley making some quick progress through the lot of them. However, I think Pushka's gone past him at some point. And Pushka is going to maintain that 7th position.
He is, and Ivar Calames closing in on Zoltan Schutte. This will be over 4th place. This is a few more points that Ivar Calames really needs at the moment as well. Peter Burlak has already come out and he's closed the gap to 7/10, whilst Ivar Calames is in the dirty air of the Brem GP car of Zoltan Schutte. So he's starting to close that gap already. Philip Pushka's in 7th, and Edward Malachy is yet to negotiate the PSR driver of Blair Disley, who is on worn hard tyres, where these guys are pitted are on fresh new hard tyres, you would have to believe. Ivar Calames has got a good run out the final corner on Zoltan Schutte. Pulls to the left hand side, doesn't want to get in the slipstream for turn 1, makes sense. He'll set it up for turn 3. Braking zone of turn 1 before the kink of 2. What's the exit like? Oh, good exit from Schutte. And let's see if Calames can close enough. Burlak, though, in that super fast straight line speed Twister racing car. Schutte has made one move already to the left hand side, and Calames is going to get close to him and dive up the inside. Does he? He does. Ivar Calames dives on the inside, runs deep in the corner. Cut back? No. Calames has got the job done, but Schutte's got good straight line speed. He's coming back at him, and Peter Burlak's there ready to pounce also in the slipstream, going up behind Calames, and Schutte's going to try and go back at Calames. Is he? He does. He slides his way through the corner. Burlak takes a lot of inside curve and grass, and Schutte runs deep, so does Calames, and Burlak should get the cut back on exit. Schutte parks on the apex though. Good driving from Schutte to hold off and try and attack at the same time there, and Burlak can't really do anything about it.
Don't forget that Schutte is also on really, really old tyres at the moment, and oh, okay, now I think Burlak went to the back of him a little bit there. We'll actually have a quick replay of that.
I'm not. It must have been very, very close. He did. I'm not too sure if he lost under braking it or if Burlak did tap him. It was very, very light tap if he did, but it was enough to throw him off. It was like a touring car past that. If he did touch him. So Burlak now has passed, and he's going to try and chase down Ivar Calames again, who he was battling with before. These drivers now 42.9 from Bono Huis on fresh hard tyres. 42.905. And Kostanov's still in the 44s. 44.0 for him. So there's a 1.1 second difference between the worn hards and the fresh hards. And a 43.188 for Jeffrey Rietveld. So it's only 2/10 off Bono Huis. So as it currently stands, you'd have to say that Jeffrey Rietveld on average is 2/10 a lap slower than Bono Huis, and that's all he needs to be on par with him.
Indeed, and I'm just going to flick through the lead difference is 5.5 seconds, and the top 10 currently Bono Huis leads in career and coming up to lap Paul Hembrow, and he's in front of Dejan Kostatinov, Jeffrey Rietveld, Ivar Calames, who's once again under attack by Peter Burlak going into turn 4. See if there's a position change here as Peter Burlak goes to the inside, brakes a bit later, and has actually got the move done. So great stuff there from Peter Burlak, all the way up into 4th position. So Ivar Calames then moves down into 5th. Zoltan Schutte on the tyres. I don't think he's stopped yet. Is in 6th position, which is very good from the back. Philip Pushka is in 7th position. Eduard Malorqui in 8th. Blair Disley 9th. And Jernej Simončić in 10th position. So interesting field that we've got lining up for us at the moment. But Bono Huis in the lead by 5.9 seconds, so it's looking pretty good for Bono and his 4th championship in a row.
Yeah, Burlak currently 4th, Rietveld, and then Kostatinov. And Rietveld is closing in on Kostadov as well now. He's only a second behind, and that'll be over second place as I come up to that Peter Hellenbro as well. And Hellenbro, wow, way! Okay, he's in pit lane. I thought he was just very slow, but he's actually entering pit lane. That was so close for Kostadinov there. And the gap is 0.8 of a second.
Yep, again, the pit lane causing us some scares as commentators. And probably some drivers, some scares as well. Could you imagine coming around that corner at 160 miles an hour only to see someone doing about 80? And it's like, oh, what do we do here?
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy pit lane.
Crazy pit lane. And I'm surprised it's not caused any crashes in the race so far. It's probably caused some accidents of a different degree. But it looks like Jeffrey Rietveld is going to be closing up to the back of Dejan Kostadinov anytime soon, maybe over the next lap.
As we're looking back down through the field, and Gergo Boldi is side by side with Marcel van der Linden, and this is over 14th and 15th position. Crown 7 Netrex driver trying to go side by side with van der Linden. They started at the back of the field together, in fact, and they're still together now, and it's over the lower reaches of what they're trying to strive towards the top 10. The guy in front of them is Eros Mashuli and Jack Keithley after his spin, who's going to try and come back through the field and chase down Franz Schneider as his next target.
Yep, and that is exactly what's going to happen. Is the field slightly spread out a bit more, as you would expect of
other than P2, because Rietveld is close right up to Kostadinov now. Oh wow, that's wide.
Yeah. That's somewhat wide.
He got completely in the dirty air of Kostadinov, and it threw him straight out over the grass. That was not great for Rietveld at all. What's his run like through turn 1? Oversteer for Kostadinov, oversteer for Rietveld. And let's see how close he can get on the run up towards turn 3. I don't think he'll get close enough because that Crown 7 Netrex is pretty handy in a straight line. He is closing in on him, but not by much. So Rietveld definitely looks the quicker man at the moment. Big lock up from Kostadinov on entry to 3 and a good enough exit. So he lives to fight another day as Rietveld had that massive moment coming out the final corner.
Yeah, Kostadinov on the obviously the older tyres than Rietveld is he's struggling surprisingly less than I thought he would be. However, a bit more than he'd be wanting at present, and probably will be looking to do another pit stop. Probably about 10 laps time, something like that. So he's got another short while to be doing on these tyres yet. And Rietveld looking like an extremely strong car. Is he going to have a move through 10? He's having a look, but he's not going to do it. I've seen many a driver have a look through there, and these cars, they're a little bit too quick through that section to have a pulling out bit and then braking. It's a little bit too quick. In a slower car, you could probably do that, but these cars are just a little bit too quick through that section.
Yeah, looks like it indeed, as Rietveld is... Oh, Kostadinov's run wide as well. God, Kostadinov's really trying on these worn hard tyres, and Rietveld is looking very menacing. Let's see if he can get a better run through the final corner. Kostadinov has gone a little bit wider, and they both go a little bit wide over the curbing as well, but it's been a better exit for him. So he should approach turn 1 a little bit in a better position. Oh yeah, Kostadinov's gone deep as well. This is going to give Rietveld the run he needs. A good exit from Rietveld as well. He's in the toe of the Crown 7 Netrex driver. He's bolted onto the back. He's going to jink left. Now let's see what Rietveld can do under braking. He's pinning him to that right-hand side, not coming back. Whoa! They touched going in a straight line there. Rietveld was trying to come across to try and set himself up. Sorry, Kostadinov trying to set himself up for braking, but Rietveld was still there. And you have to go very, very careful, Kostadinov. That was so late trying to move back to try and take a line. Couldn't get the line done, and Rietveld's gone up the inside at 4 and got the job done. Rietveld goes into second place.
Yeah, Rietveld, they're up into second position in front of Kostadinov, making some good progress. And obviously, I don't think he's going to have the pace to go and hunt down his kind of sister-something teammate, Bono Huis. However, second position is going to be good for him, Dejan Kostadinov. I wouldn't say Dejan's really struggling on these tyres. He's struggling in comparison to Rietveld, who's got a lot fresher tyres, and that's quite a difference when you've been on them for this period of time. But he's still pulling off some decent times in them. in comparison to Reveld and Bono when you consider how long he's been on them in comparison. So, things looking good for Dejan Kostadinov for this race at the moment, and let's just hope he can keep it all together and score some decent points.
Yeah, let's hope he can. And Rietveld is still pushing on, and he's struggling actually up at the rear of the car there, but got it back and sorted out. And Kostadinov. Now let's see where Burlak is. Burlak's 2.3 behind, and he has got some good pace. He's pulled well away from Calamise now. He's got 2.3 over Calamise, in fact. So Calamise is dropped backwards, and Zoltan Suti from starting at the back of the field is still in 6th place and doing a great job.
Yeah, agreed. Zoltan Suti is doing a good job as well, and he is in the 6th position after climbing quite a lot from the back of the grid. And I'm really interested to see where Zoltan is going to finish this race and how his strategy is going to play into it, because he started on the softs and he's going hard, and let's see how that's going to work out, because at the moment, everyone else around him has made a stop and he's in 6th position, so he's made some good progress. It's just now about when what's going to happen towards the end of the race, when he's going to be on the harder of the two tyres, whilst everyone else is going to be on the soft. It's all about waiting for that to work its way out. The gap between the leads is 9.5 seconds. I don't think that'll be shrinking anytime soon. I think Bono's, unfortunately, at this early stage in the race, and by early stage I mean we're past halfway now, I think Bono has got this one all about wrapped up, and now it's about where Ivar Calamise can push himself. Remember that with Bono winning, Ivar Calamise has got to finish what? He's got to finish 3rd.
I will look. I'll just check. I'll work out the maths on that one. Hang on.
Okay. I think he'd have to finish 3rd to have this still in contention, but he's got a long way before we get to that point, as Bono Huis is now on lap 29 of 55. And some pit stops for some, maybe getting increasingly closer. And for Dejan Kostadinov, that time can only just be getting faster and faster, because he really, I'm sure in that car at the moment, he really just wants to get off these tyres, because he didn't look too comfortable on them. But, as I said, he's not looking too terribly. He's not dropped off the back of Rietveld as quickly as one might assume. So he's still showing some good pace. Don't forget, Dejan Kostadinov was the one who started from pole position, but he did that on the softer compound tyre when everyone else was running the hards. So good stuff there from Dejan Kostadinov to actually keep it in 3rd position and show that he's still got some decent pace in comparison to the rest of the field. And right, so Calamise has got to finish 5th.
Yeah, it'd be 5th, because that's 10. That'd be the 10 points. That'd be a 15. That'd be a 15-point difference.
Yeah,
so
so
he has to finish 5th to keep the championship alive.
So the championship will still be alive even now, even with Dejan Kostadinov in the middle of that. So championship not over yet, but you're at the point now where it's going to get a bit. It's just going to get tougher and tougher every single race to keep that on track, and unless Bono had a disconnection this season, it's not really going to happen though.
It might work out, because if I'm right, I'm not. I thought Kostadinov was going to dive into pit lane there, because Kostadinov's off strategy, so it depends. It will all filter out towards the end of the race and where Calamise is likely to be, because Kostadinov's off strategy. So it will all depend on that, because Kostadinov will pit for hard tyres. Those hard tyres will run all the way to the end of the race. Calamise will be going much deeper into the race on his current set of hard tyres, and it will swap onto the softer compound. Remember, you have to run both the hard and the soft compounds.
Yep, and most of the grid we think of on hard, so have not done that soft stint. Some drivers, Dejan Kostadinov, Blair Disley, Zoltan Suti, they've gone soft hard, so it's looking pretty good for those. In the consideration that they've already done their strategy calls like that. Also, I've just seen that Marcel van der Linden, okay, that's why Marcel van der Linden is into the pits, and Burlak is soon to be on the back of Dejan Kostadinov. Indeed, he is. Is he going to make a move anytime soon? We're heading into turn 10. This is one of the overtaking opportunities, but I don't really think we're going to see too many here. It's the brave of the brave who go through there. But maybe towards turn 1 or turn 3, or maybe even turn 4, Peter Burlak will be moving up into third position. And that is actually an extremely good point that I was going to bring up, because some people were saying that Burlak's got the pace to win it when you consider his qualifying position. Is that, don't forget, if he finishes on the podium, he can't take part in World Series, which he's looking pretty good for in the championship standings for that. He's leading at the moment.
I tell you the other thing as well, he's actually done a lap time that is it's half a tenth slower than Puig. They've both done a 42.9. They're the only drivers that have done 42s on this current set of tyres in this strategy window. They're the only drivers that have done 42s. 42.905 plays a 42.953. Burlak has got some serious pace. It was all about that start that went wrong for him. But you're right, he probably actually has the pace to be up with Bono fighting for the victory, and he's going to go onto the podium now, and he goes past Kostadinov. Now, Twister Precision had this problem earlier on this evening back at Silverstone with Martin Gosby on to win his home race in World Championship at Silverstone. But Peter Burlak can't be on the podium because it will screw him in World Series, which he now leads. So that's a big issue for Twister Racing. That's a big problem for Twister Racing now because he's in third.
Yeah, we saw this last year as well with Jack Keithley. I think all Burlak wants to do at the moment is show that in the World Championship, I can hack it. I can do this. I can get myself into a podium position. That's the same as what happened with Gosby in Silverstone. And I thought that was a huge shame that he couldn't go on to win the race or anything like that, which ended up causing a massive farce afterwards when someone got a penalty who wasn't on the podium, and then it was a mess. But the thing is that I think he's going to drop back towards the end of the race so that he isn't on the podium, because he's definitely in contention for that World Series. Obviously, he's leading at the moment. And the rule is that if you finish on the podium, you can't take part in the lower league, and the lower league of the World Championship is, of course, World Series. And apparently, we've got the Dejan Kostadinov has had a half spin and has jumped straight into the pits.
Yeah.
Was the half spin at 60? Oh, okay, no, I see where it is now. Right. So he's jumped straight into the pits.
He's dived straight into pit lane after his slight spin, and he's in the box now. Now, one thing just going on from what I had a big criticism and a big dig against what happened at Silverstone, the fact of the nature of these drivers. But both the drivers are essentially going from World Series into World Championship. They're doing two leagues. Now, that's not really right. You don't want to be doing two. You don't really want to be two leagues. And Kostadinov just got back out in front of Jack Keithley there. That was good work from Kostadinov to stay in front of him on fresh tyres as well, so that's worked nicely for Kostadinov.
Burlak's also done the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, he has. And there's side-by-side between Disley and Simoncic again. Can Simoncic get Disley going up towards turn 4? I think he can. And it goes up the inside. Yes, just about gets him on the inside. And up goes Simoncic. And as I was saying, that I had a big blast about what the difference between them. But we've got drivers that are jumping up to World Championship, clearly they're World Championship ready. And you think, well, at the start of the season, why did some teams not just declare their drivers in World Championship? They're clearly good enough for it. They're clearly deserving of it. So why not just declare them in World Championship? And that's the double-edged sword I thought about. I thought, well, I was correct enough to criticise the way it's done, but why not just declare them World Championship in the first place? So
I agree.
It's an interesting way that the administration have dealt with it. I don't think it's the ideal way we're dealing with it, but how do you deal with it otherwise? Do you another rule I guess you could bring in is the fact that you bring in a reserve driver as a third driver and he can't race in any series and is only a reserve, but then you have to have a bigger team and it creates bigger issues. So there is it's a rule that needs reviewing because it does disrupt World Championship races in particular. Considering this is the pinnacle of sim racing, then you want the best drivers to be at the front battling and fighting for the wins. So it is something that will need to be reviewed because currently Burlak, he's absolutely flying. A 42.7 and Bono Cuisse has only done a 42.9. He's clearly got the pace to be with Bono Cuisse and Jeffrey Rietveld, but at some point he's just going to have to breathe out the throttle and go backwards because he can't finish on the podium.
Yeah, this is the thing, is that, I've taken part in lower leagues before, like when you've got a career that you can go through where you can go from, say, the World Trophy to the World Series to the World Championship. And, you know, it's kind of like, yeah, sometimes like, oh, well, I'd like to take part in the higher league. So for Burlak to jump up into World Championship and fill those boots and give it a go, that's always nice to see. But when you're seeing it, you know, a few rounds in a row, not just one or two, you know, when you're seeing it 3, 4, 5, 6 rounds in a row, it's kind of like, well, you're just a World Championship driver who can't get a podium. It's kind of like, that's not fair. I don't think that's fair at all. And so maybe a different part of the rule could be implemented in the fact of the drivers can only take part in 3 races or things like that. It's a really complex rule that's going to irritate some people, that's going to please others, and it's just going to absolutely complicate the matter. And to be honest, there's no real way you can win with it. It's kind of like when you red flag a race. It's like there's no way you can win in this situation. Always someone isn't going to be happy.
Somewhere along the line, you can't please everyone.
Indeed you can't, and this is one of those situations. Speaking of not being able to please everyone, Bono Huis leading the race by 9.363 of a second. And that
he's
is
just done
a
a
good
42.8 as well, which is a personal best.
Yes, it's a good strong lead that he's got. It's been fluctuating a little bit, but Jeffrey Rietveld 9.36 seconds behind. And Peter Burlak a further 4 and a bit behind that. So Peter Burlak looking like he has got some good pace, but don't forget we're reckoning Peter Burlak is going to start slowing down towards the end of the race. So it will be, I think, for another time, maybe the 3rd, 4th time in a row, that it would have been a second or third time in a row that it's going to be an all-precision podium, technically, with the GT Omega being stuck in the middle.
Yep, absolutely. And at the moment, they're all doing a very solid job. And Bono Huis, as it stands, would not take the championship today because Calamise is sitting in 4th, and that's enough points to take it over to at least Singapore. And Philip Pushka is the man in 5th, silently doing a great job in 5th. Maliki is in 6th place, Simon Chit 7th, Disley in 8th, still doing a good job. Again, I think he's gone too long on those tyres though. And Schneider is 9th with Kostadinov in 10th, and the gap between Kostadinov and Disley is 3.5 seconds. That was roughly the same as what it was last time when they pitted, and I suspect Disley will be coming in probably this lap to change tyres. That will take those hard tyres to the very end of the race.
Yeah, this is where the strategy element comes into the race.
No, we carry.
Okay, right, interesting. Interesting, so it carries on. Right. Now this is where it's all going to get a bit interesting. As I said, I kind of think he may go... About now would be a good time to pit for Blair Disley. But nevertheless, staying out. As we alluded to earlier, he stayed out a bit too long on the softer compound tyre. And probably cost himself some slightly higher points. And maybe not having to look in his rear, his wing mirrors constantly for where Franz Schneider is going to be down the straight. But Blair Disley, 8th position, is still pretty good. Still a top 10. And still something that he can possibly hold on to for the rest of the race. But don't forget, the people behind him are going to be on the softer compound tyre for the last stint of the race. So he's going to have to really keep an eye on his mirrors for the last, maybe something like 10 laps.
Yeah, it's getting very, very tense out there for some of these drivers. Rietveld is... Burlak was really in Rietveld, and it's kind of stabilised now at 3.8, so there's not really much movement there. And Calamise is in 4th place, 4.3 behind. Push is not really making any impression. It's 5 seconds further back to Maliki, 1.5 back to Simončić, 2.6 back to Disley, who's got Schneider all over him, and Disley should eventually pit though before Schneider gets there, I would have thought, as he's in the final sector now. Now we saw him go straight on last time. Let's see if Disley opts to pit for PSR. I would have thought he would do. He needs to get off those tyres soon because Kostadinov's now just 2.6 behind. And he's not. Naturally, he's not. He carries on. So Schneider is getting close to Blair Disley, going towards turn 1. And up the inside at turn 1 he goes. Can he get that done? He can indeed. A good move there from Franz Schneider. He goes up into 8th place, and Disley goes back to 9th, and Kostadinov is now just 1.7 seconds behind Blair Disley.
Yeah, he is indeed, and he's probably going to start closing in that gap. And Kostadinov has done both his pit stops. Both the pit stops that we assumed he would, and he did his second one not too long ago. Also, so it turns out we've got 2 more DNFs. With Carlos Martin and Chris de Jong. They're both out of the race. I'm not sure why that is. I'm just going to go check that one out.
Yep, 2 more retirements there, and Disley's not being able to come back at Schneider either. It's all allowed Kostadinov to get that little bit closer on those fresher tyres. And he is nearly on Disley. Carlos Martin, yeah, he's now unfortunately retired.
Yeah, Carlos Martin looked like he kind of lost it a little bit and then immediately disconnected, whereas it looked like Chris de Jong just disconnected. Oh no, but yeah, they both look very laggy on my screen, and that's an issue. So it might just be me, but it looked like they had 2 disconnections between 2 of them, which is very odd. So maybe that's not actually what happened. Maybe they did have a crash and I didn't see it.
Possibly so. But Blair Disley is starting to come under heavy fire from Kostadinov now. Much better grip from Kostadinov all throughout this 3rd sector. And oh wow, there goes Disley into pit lane, and Kostadinov nearly hit the back of him. Jinked to the left hand side, went over the grass to the final corner and got away with it. So there's that problem with the pit entry again, and into pit lane goes Blair Disley. Carlos Martin apparently had his own accident, and Chris Young tried to avoid it and ended up crashing as well, so that's not really worked out for him. As away goes Blair Disley, and he will come out somewhere near his teammate, in fact, because he's going to come out now into turn 1, and Marcel van der Linden just went over the start finish line, so yeah, they're split by 5.9 seconds, but van der Linden and Disley are fairly close together, and Disley has made his final stop of the day, and that will take those hard tyres to the end of the race, whereas van der Linden will still need to pit again.
Yeah, Zoltan, I just jumped on board with Zoltan Suti as he was a little bit out of shape in turn 4, but as stated, this is when strategy becomes a bit of an element, and when we'll not have, probably for a few laps, we won't have a full order. But from what we're hearing, is that Simoncic is closing on the back of... actually, Simoncic has dropped off the back a bit of Edouard Malorqui from what I can see, because considering that's supposed to be a 6/10 gap, that has jumped to a second. So Simoncic, though, looking like a pretty quick car behind the Twister Racing car. But don't forget that Twister Racing have a very, very good straight line speed in Sector 1, and that's going to really cost Simoncic when it comes to trying to overtake him. So maybe strategy will have to play a key part in that move.
Yeah, it looks like it will do. Maliki is... he's pulling away a bit now, actually. It's up to 1.1, so it will stretch out in this 1st sector as well because of their straight line speed. So crisis averted for Maliki. He looks like he's fending off Simoncic for now, as Pushka is further down the road by some 6.7 seconds. With Calamies in 4th place, holding on to that faint championship hope that he still has. And Burlak is in 3rd place, which is likely he'll have to give up at some point. Rietveld, the man in 2nd place, and in fact, if Burlak has to give that up, that'll put Calamies up, so that will actually strengthen his championship once again.
Yeah, but still not enough, really, because by the time we've gotten into Singapore, that'll be when it's. I think it'll be sorted in Singapore, if I'm honest. Unless something happens to Bono in Singapore, I kind of think it's going to get done and dusted there. Or unless something happens to him in this race. I mean, we've still got about 18 laps to go, but it's looking increasingly likely that Bono is going to become a 4-time world champion here in the Formula Sim Racing World Championship.
And Jeffrey Rietveld, he's pushing on. Bono placed yesterday a personal best of 42.169, and Rietveld did a 42.340. And they have, in fact, gone faster than what Burlak's been doing as well. So they are now half a second faster than what Burlak's done. He's only done a 42.6.
Yep, and also we're told to give you a good shout out to anyone in the comment section if you want to post a question to either me, Nick, or even I suppose Yoko Mikinen or Sam Jones, people in the commentary helping out with the broadcast. If you want to post a question to any of us, just all you have to do is you have to look in the below the stream. There's a comment section. Just type a question there. We can read it. We can read it out. And it's always a nice thing to do that, because that way we have a little bit more connection. So if you need to ask a question, dump it down there.
Absolutely, and I'll leave you the trusty hands of Lewis, and I will just check those comments out. So just give me a moment.
Yeah, well, I've got the comment section open, but
okay.
Nevertheless, any action on track? We've got Malorkwi and Simoncic. Then they're quite close together. So Simoncic is still looking pretty strong to move up into that 6th place. But whereabouts is any other combat? Let's have a look. We're kind of a bit spread out at the moment, if I'm honest. And the two closest people on track is actually Simoncic and Malorkwi for 6th and 7th. But Simoncic is just looking like he's a little bit. I dislike to use the word inconsistent, but he's out of shape out of some of the corners, and it's costing him a lot of time.
Just want to look at some of the comments here. I think Carlos Martin, who's retired from races, just asked the question of what happened to Jack. I presume it means Jack Keefer there. Jack had a moment in turn 3 with, I think it was Maliki and another driver. He was based in the middle, and he went over the curbing, and as he went over the curbing, it kind of sent the rear of the car round, which spun him out, and he lost a whole host of positions and went backwards through the field, unfortunately. So that's what's happened to Jack Keefer there, Carlos.
Indeed, it was a bit unfortunate. Had it kind of looked like it stalled, but got it all sorted out again, and then continues on, running in 10th position at the moment. So pretty good for him. And there's some close drivers: Blair Disley and Joris Maskili. But it seems like Blair Disley has actually gotten past Maskili. So Maskili, though, coming back for 12th and 13th position. So not for points, just for pride at the moment for those two. But nevertheless, if you get past, I mean, Blair Disley obviously on the newer, fresher tyres, so he needs to get past and move himself up if he actually wants to get into a points-paying position, which is obviously the top 10, same points as in Formula 1. And if he needs that, if he wants those, he's got to really, really push for it, especially after in the consideration that we thought that he'd gone too far on those softer tyres earlier on, and we don't know how much that's going to work into his hands. But nevertheless, 12.689 seconds, the gap between Jeffrey Rietveld and Bono Hui. So we've got quite a long gap between those two, but it's not gapping in typical Bono fashion of about 12 seconds here and then 16 seconds on the next lap. So that's what's been happening between those, and Peter Burlak still staying in that 3rd position quite comfortably. But we all reckon he's going to be giving it up a few laps towards the end. Fortunately, not to a person he wants to, which will be Ivar Kalamed, who's in 4th position. Filip Puška in 5th. Eduard Malorkwi in 6th. Jenny Simoncic in 7th position. Franz Schneider coming under attack. Quite close. Is Dejan Kostadinov behind, so he's coming under attack. And Dejan Kostadinov not looking for a move in 10, but probably any time soon. Is Dejan Kostadinov in 9th, going to attack Franz Schneider in 8th, and Jack Keithley running in a bit of fresh air, kind of away from everyone else, in 10th position.
A couple of good laps there from Bono Hui. He's just done a 141.847, and Peter Burlak's actually just done a 41 as well. He did a 41.944, and Rietveld's done a 42.3, but Bono Hui's done a very good lap the last time round, a 141.8 1:04.7. As the drivers are circulating, and we should actually be approaching now. We're on lap 42, so we should be coming up towards the second round of pit stops. Yeah, exactly, for the guys that have been on the double hards.
So now it's all going to reveal who is going to be scoring the points. I think we already know who's going to be taking the win, but who's going to be scoring the points and who's going to be moving themselves up into that championship. Oh, actually, I've just seen two people going side by side. I think that was Dejan. Yep, it was Dejan Kostadinov and Franz Schneider. Dejan Kostadinov now up into the 8th position, but Franz Schneider is absolutely not sorted with this. He wants his 8th position back. He's like, gimme, gimme, gimme now. But Dejan Kostadinov has got it on the inside of turn 4 and has got this sorted out. So Dejan Kostadinov, 8th position, got that one sorted, and now he's going to try and gap to move himself up into 7th. But remember that I think Dejan Kostadinov has actually done his final pit stop of the race. He did it a few laps ago. He did indeed. So Dejan Kostadinov doesn't have to pit again. People in front of him do. So he's in a good points position at the moment. And remember, earlier on he was in that podium area. Whether he will be by the end of this is something that only the checkered flag can decide.
Exactly. It's a great move there for Kostadinov, who's moved up into that 8th position. Wow, a big oversteer moment for him as well as he goes through turn 14 there. So yeah, a bit of a moment for him as he sorts all that out. Just another quick rundown. It's Bonnet recently his way, 12.3 second lead over Jeffrey Rietveld for GT Omega. Peter Burlap for Twister Racing, currently in 3rd place, doing a great job, lapping at the same pace as Bonnet Reese. Likely will have to give up that podium though. Ivar Kalamis, he's the man in 4th place, who's just basically hanging on to any championship aspirations in 4th place. Philip Pushka for Go Speed Racing, he is in 5th with Edward Malachy. The 2nd Twister Racing car is in 6th. Ernie Silencic is in 7th place in the 2nd Go Speed. Crown 7 Networks driver of Dejan Kostadinov is in 8th. That will filter out once the other guys have made their pit stops. Franz Schneider, who's just been passed by Kostadinov, is in 9th for Ash Racing, doing a solid job. And Jack Keithy doing a recovery drive after his spin earlier in the race at turn 3. He is currently sitting in 10th. And I think we are on lap 43, and we will start expecting drivers coming into pit lane, as Bonnet Ruiz has just negotiated Alex Diaz there, who is the back marker.
Yeah.
Lap 43, and he goes through to start another lap. And
about Dejan Kostadinov, and you know this Peter Burlak, how we're thinking he's going to have to give up that podium position. I wonder if Dejan Kostadinov's going to play into that, because I mean he was running in the podium position earlier on, so maybe Peter Burlak won't have to give up that position. Maybe. I don't know about how long it takes in the pit lane, but possibly he might not. So he may keep a 4th position, which is not going to be for Ivar Kalames. But don't forget also that those two are going to be on the soft compound tyre towards the end of the race, which means Dejan Kostadinov has got to get really into some defending action. We're just going to have to see how that one's going to unfold.
Yep, and all the drivers carried on to lap 44 by the looks of it. Don't think anyone... Oh, there we go. Edward Malachy's dived into pit lane, in fact. So Malachy has dived into pit lane, and so has... Is that Jack Keithley? It is. Jack Keithley's also dived into pit lane. So the Twister and the GT Omega drivers have decided to pit on lap 43, as every other driver in front of them has gone on to lap 44. And where will they return? Malachy's come out of pit lane and he's into fresh air in front of Blair Disley, and he is in 10th spot. And Keithley is coming out now, and Keithley is in front of Marcel van der Linden, as van der Linden actually pits and Gergo Baldi goes through. And let's just try and get these pit stops filled out, because I suspect there's going to be quite a few of them.
Indeed, there probably will be.
Thick and fast over the next few laps. Barnaquist carrying on nicely at the front of the race, 11.8 seconds lead, and he carries on for another lap. As Jeffrey Rietveld is just basically entering sector 3, as Ruiz goes out the other side of it. And goes to show you how far he is down the road. And Jeffrey Rietveld, oh, he pits, he decides to pit. So the first of the front runners is Jeffrey Rietveld, and has dived into pit lane as Peter Burlak carries on. So the GT Omega driver now enters pit lane.
Ivar enters as well.
So is Ivar And let's see where these guys actually filter out, because it's all going to depend on where Dejan Kostadinov is.
very, very pacey on the entrance to the pits. He has locked up and a slide. Enters into the pits. There's Philip Pushka. And
Rietveld's away.
May be doing as well.
Rietveld's away, and he's come out still in 3rd spot. That's worked for him. Ivar Kalamies has hit his box. As Kostadinov goes through, so he's passed Ivar Kalamies. So Kalamies is going to have to chase down Kostadinov. That's put him back down into 5th. He can't go much lower than that, especially when Suti's just nearly right behind him as well. So, still in 5th place, but it's getting a little bit of a squeaky bum time for Kalamies. He's going to chase down Kostadinov now.
On the soft tyres, he should be able to do that.
Yeah, Kalamies should start pulling away, yeah. Soft tyres at the end of the race from there would be absolutely fine. Disney the man in 9th, Simicic is 10th. So Kostadinov currently in 4th spot on hard tyres. 3.5 seconds, you would believe that Kalamies will get him. As at the front of the race, it's still Bono Huis and Peter Burlack who have yet to make their second stops. I suspect they will be coming in fairly shortly. As Bono Huis comes through the final corner, does he opt for pit lane? It looks like he is doing.
Yeah.
Yes, he does. So into pit lane comes Bono Huis.
I reckon Burlack's going to be behind him as well. Obviously not very close behind him. We've got about 17.5 seconds to wait before he tries and enter the pit lane.
Yeah, race leader Bono Huis hits the box, and in he comes. And Burlack
stays out.
Carries on. Yeah, he carries on. So he should take the race lead for the time being.
But not by much.
Indeed. No. And away goes Bono Huis to come out in 2nd place, which will be the race lead as soon as Burlack decides to make his final stop. On lap 46, that will take Bono Huis and his soft tyres to the end of the race.
Yep, and the gap between Ivar Kalamies and Jan Kostadinov as they cross the line is going to be 2.5 seconds. Nope, sorry, I've read that wrong.
1.4 seconds.
1.6. Is it 1.6, 1.4?
It's fluctuating because Kostadinov
yeah.
went deep in 1. It's stabilised at 1.5 through turn 2.
So there we go, 1.5 seconds between the two of those, which is good for Ivar Kalamies. Not so much for Jan Kostadinov, but also I think this is going to be costing Burlack. Once again, Ivar Kalamies is going to get the undercut. So not working out for Peter Burlack, but nevertheless that means he doesn't have to give up the position. Maybe he is giving up the position right now. We just don't know. So Peter Burlack, though, probably going to come out in about 4th or 5th.
Yep. Let's just see how Burlack can do, because 1.6 seconds behind is Bono Huis. You would think that Burlack needs to come in now, otherwise he's just going to cost himself far too much time.
Yeah, he's got to be in this lap. He absolutely has to be in this lap.
Unless he runs longer to actually do it on purpose, to drop back in the field, to purposely spend a long time on these tyres.
I think he's already dropped back enough, if I'm honest. I think he would have dropped back past Ivar, but he is... Okay, so he's doing what you're saying. He is staying out to probably move himself down the order, which for anyone who doesn't know, anyone who's tuned in a bit late, Peter Burlack, World Series driver, and if he finishes on the podium, then he will not be able to take part in the World Series. So he's just trying to drop himself further back down the order, and now he's got Bono Huis trying to overtake him.
And Huis is going to the outside of turn 3, and this will be back for the race lead. And we know, look at the braking difference there. Sweeps around the outside of him. Bono Huis is like, yeah, nice one, cheers, and away he goes. Beautiful move there from Huis. From a guy that looks on for the championship, and Peter Burlack currently sitting in 2nd place. Still not make his stop. He's still got to go onto the soft tyres yet, but battle going on between Kalamies and Kostadinov as well. This is finally on, and Kalamies is past Kostadinov in turn 3, and Kalamies goes up to 4th place, and Pushka and Suti are battling as well. Suti's come from the back of the field, and for Pushka, this is Ghost Speed on Brem GP. To the outside goes Pushka up towards turn 4. Brakes late round the outside. Can he get the grip? Yes, he can. Well done, Philip Pushka. Up into 6th place, the Ghost Speed driver. Great work there against Zoltan Suti.
Yep, so we're having a little bit of position change at the moment. I don't think Huis past Burlack was Burlack putting up too much of a fight. But it was still quite a nice move to see anyway, and into the 3rd sector for the 47th time for Peter Burlack. Is he going to jump into the pits this time? I kind of think he's got to. Is he going for the slightly wider? No, so he's staying out again. So he is going as far as he can to drop himself down the order. I don't think he needs to.
He doesn't now. So
Because that's all pretty much sorted.
the thing is, as soon as he comes out of those soft tyres, he's probably going to be really quick. So
Indeed.
he probably start catching a lot of people in front of him. Let's just see how far he decides to drop back.
Looks like he's trying to drop back into the behind Kostatinov, but in front of Pushka at the moment. But I don't know if he's actually going to be in front of Pushka by the time he comes out. So he's aiming for the
that's
5th,
going to be
6th, 7th
close.
kind of area, isn't he, really?
Yeah, that will be close for Burlak.
So even then, it's been quite an impressive show, especially considering he's going a lot later than he needs to, and obviously trying to make sure that he's not going to finish on the podium. So it's still been quite a good showing by Peter Burlak.
It has. And for any team managers or team owners out there that are looking at drivers for next season, you've got to say Peter Burlak is one that can definitely run at the front of the Formula Sim Racing World Championship fields. He has done today. He's been pretty much matching Bonacuise's time, so if anyone wants to
Disley
snap
and
him
Jack
up,
Keithley, apologies to cut across you, but Jack Keithley and Blair Disley are going side by side in P11 and P12. Blair Disley has the advantage at the moment in P11. Jack Keithley going for the outside of turn 4. And is he going to make it stick? It looks like he's keeping enough speed around the outside to drop it on the inside of 5. A little bit of contact between the two of them. Slightly naughty there, but Jack Keithley moved himself up into 11th position, especially after he's had a spin. That's been quite a nice recovery drive for Jack Keithley to move himself up into 11th position.
most definitely. And Peter Burlak does decide to pit finally. Lap 48 and Burlak is in. Rietveld goes through. So that's one position lost. Where's Ivar Calamise? Peter Burlak goes through. Through the final corner comes Calamise. Burlak's not even hit his box yet. There's his box. And there goes Ivar Calamise. He goes through into 3rd place onto the podium. Burlak's away. Oh, it's going to be a race between him and Kostatinov by the looks of it. And Kostatinov is going into turn 1 now. Yep,
he's timed that quite well.
So, yeah, it'll be Kostatinov against Burlak. And I suspect that straight line speed of Twister Racing is going to pretty much get him straight away. Coming up towards turn number 3. And up the inside, faster straight line speed, hits the brakes, down the gearbox, fresh, brand spanking new soft tyres, first gear, done.
Yeah, it was quite nice there from Burlak. He's got faith in that car and has got himself into 4th position, which is just about where he wants to be. So excellent stuff there for Peter Burlak. Probably went a little later than he needed to. However, he's going to have nice soft tyres, probably going to go for the fastest lap of the race. So good stuff there for Peter Burlak.
Yeah. Yep, he's, let's have a look. Huis has done a 38.8. What a time that is. A 38.8 he's done, 39.7 for Rietveld, 40.0 for Calamise. So, Bonacuise was like, alright, let's go and have a fastest lap. Had it, and now it's probably just backed it down again. Saying that, it's 8.5 seconds, so the gap has come down between Huis and Rietveld. I don't know if that was just a slower stop or something, but yeah, the gap's slightly less. It was out at about 12 before, so he's lost about 4 seconds somewhere. And across the line.
Yeah, it's dropping a bit. I want to see what Rieveld's gap's going to be as they actually cross the line. And he's heading through. Oh no, he already crossed the line. That was me not really knowing which part of the track we're at. But yeah, the gap 8.660 of a second. So the gap's coming down, but you kind of get the feeling that Bono's fully aware of that, and he's not going to let it go down too far.
Nope, most definitely not. That's Peter Burlak is on his first flying lap on these tyres, so it'll be interesting to see what sort of time he can pump in. Any questions? If you're on watching on YouTube and you want to watch you're watching the stream, you want to put it in the comment section, then please do, and I will try and read them either in the last few laps or at the end of the race. I'll try and get through a couple. If you do have any questions, ideally, if you can, just put Nick at the start of it so I can actually see it when I'm scrolling up and down the list, and I'll try and read it out for you if you've got any questions at all.
Yep, that's a good shout. We always like our questions. It's always nice to have a little bit of feedback from the audience and even give them a little bit of a connection. The gap between Rietveld and Huis through the first sector was 8.667. Through the second sector, it's 8.623, so it came down about 400ths of a second. 400ths of a second, so not very much in reality. However, through the third sector comes Jeffrey Rietveld, to head for the line, and with 5 laps to go, the gap is 8.207 seconds. So it's going down a little bit. A couple of tenths here, a couple of tenths there. Probably not enough though for the win of the race. Don't suspect Huis would hand it over quite nicely either.
Yeah, Peter Burlack is just done a 39.2, so it's not as quick as what Huis did, who did a 38.8. So Burlack did a 39.2, and in doing so, he's close within 2 seconds of Ivar Calamise. I think he's just going to play with Calamise towards the end of this race because he's going to be quicker, but he's not allowed that podium.
Yeah, it's a shame he's not allowed that podium because I absolutely think Burlack could get it if he really, really wanted it. Well, not if he really, really wanted it, because I'm sure he really, really does want it, but if he could, I think he would have it. But nevertheless, that's not what's going to happen, I think, because, well, that's one of our potential World Series champions is Peter Burlack, and the other two race for precision. So he's kind of on his own, and he's looking pretty good. Maybe for next year, you know, he could. If Bono's going to stay, I don't particularly see him going for the championship, unfortunately, because Bono's extremely quick, dependent on the mod. But Burlack, though, he's one of the drivers that I think can really impress going into the World Championship next year. Also, we got it that Marcel van der Linden for Positive Sim Racing is out of the race. His teammate Blair Disley currently running in 12th position.
Yeah, just looking at some of the comments here. Fabio Asensao just said that Shane Moran's not here. He's a very good driver. Yes, he is a very good driver, but he's opted to retire. I think there's an element of life and an element of politics. So I don't know if he has just decided that he doesn't want to race or he's opting to wait for next season. But it is a shame Moran's not here because it'd be great to have him in this battle as well. But he has decided to retire for the rest of this season. So. And I think Burlack is going to start teasing Calamise a bit here.
Yeah, he's going to. He might even. Yeah, he might even try and make a move. Just to go. I can do this, but that is the way round. I think they're going to finish at the end. I don't see it being another way.
He'll get close, but not close enough. Well, no, that's not true. Actually, he'll get close. He'll get close enough easily, but in fact, he'll. Leave out the throttle. Yeah, which is it's a shame for Burlack because it's the same as what we saw with Gosby in Silverstone. Absolutely has the pace to be a podium contender, to be a podium sitter, but because of the way the rules are, can't quite do it. Looks like Burlack's actually dropping back just a little bit. He's not pushing as hard, but you know that's the way the rules are. And when you're in a position like this, when you're in a position to be taking podiums, things like that. It's kind of like you've got to follow the rules. The rules are there for a reason, and if you're entering a league and not reading the rules, then that's not a very smart thing to do. Before taking part in a league, I'm not going to flick through every single rule that there ever has been for that league, but it's always nice to know the big rules that are going to apply to you. And so you do have to flick through the rule book. You at least have to open it up. And just have a flick through, and the drivers who don't, and the drivers who get some penalties by their name. Burlack, though, is fully aware of the way the rules work and is dropping off the back of Ivar Calamise as to not gain the position, maybe giving himself a little bit of space to go for the past lap of the race, with only 3 to go. Yep. We're actually in lap 53 now, so not too much more to go. Starting to lift out of the braking zone as well. Sorry, lift into the braking zone. There's a lift and then the brake, so he's probably saving fuel actually doing that. But he's getting close.
Yeah, we're also being told Edouard Malorqui is having a look on the inside of Philip Pushkat. Not quite
still there as well, and Sutty
is still
as well.
Yeah, that's going to be quite an interesting battle for Sick.
Yeah,
great stuff.
Kastanov 3.5 seconds down the road, and he should just about hang on to that. So, pole to 5th with the alternate strategy. I'd say that's a solid return for the Crown 7 Netrex driver there. Only 6.3 seconds off the podium.
Yeah, that's That's actually been a really, really good payoff for Dejan Kostadinov.
Oh, massive dive! Suti's got that horribly wrong. He's got to give that position back.
That was Simoncic in the background.
Oh, sorry, Simoncic. Yes, Simoncic has spun, not Kostadinov. Simoncic has spun. Suti went up the inside of Malachy across the grass, gave it back. Good work. Malachy gets his hold on. So Pushka's like, thanks very much. I'll have a few more seconds on then.
Here comes Suti as well.
Okay, hang on. What's Pushka doing here? Oh, he's short shifting. Oh, Pushka's massively short shifting.
Oh, he is hugely short shifting.
That's very early.
And he's not, look at him not accelerating down the straight, really.
He's going to, it looks like he's very low on fuel. Malachy's got him. It's either his engine is under heavy stress and it's really not working for him, or he's very, very low on fuel.
Yeah,
there goes Malachy and there goes Suti, and Pushka is now got to try and nurse that car back to the end, but on that 54, that's going to be a struggle.
Yep, I think quite a lot of drivers on the grid have had it where a few laps to the end, there's just not enough fuel in the car. Suti's past Malorki for 6th position, but that is not going to be a comfortable last couple of laps there for Filip Pushka, knowing that you just don't have enough fuel in the car. Also, Franz Schneider is past Simoncic in the background.
And and Schneider and Simoncic are going to be closing out Pushka pretty rapidly as well, I reckon.
Yeah.
It's not looking great.
Simoncic jumping down the inside of Franz Schneider. Simoncic and Schneider. And Suti's apparently smoking, right?
Yeah, Suti is smoking, but Boniquis is the man that's about to start the final lap of the race, and he's only 6.2 in front of Jeffrey Rietveld. And Suti is he is. Suti is smoking big time. Malachy's behind him.
We're having a lot of changes at the moment.
This is incredible. Pushka's low on fuel. Suti's smoking. Malachy's in the middle of him. Can Suti make that last one lap? One lap's all he needs out of that engine.
And I can see the smoke coming off the back of it at the moment. And it's been an impressive drive for Suti. He's just trying to save the engine.
Oh, he's got one lap to go.
Oh, I saw Pushka's made a bit of a mistake and slammed the wall slightly on the inside of turn 17.
Malachy's lifting as
it seems like everyone's just underfueled.
Oh, hang on. Has Malachy got a World Series issue here with points? Will he have claimed too many points?
I don't think that's
in World Championship.
I don't know. I don't think though.
Look, he's lifting. He doesn't even want to try and pass Suti.
I think it could be fuel, maybe. Let's have a.
Well, no, because he accelerates to full. Because look, he's going to full.
Yeah,
he's hitting the rev limit to 18,000.
Yeah.
But then he'll get within a range of Suti and just lift. Interesting. Nevertheless, Boniquis is into sector 3. He flicks down to 3rd gear, coming to this tight, tricky final part. And the last part of the race around this Korean Yeongnam circuit. And into the final corner, Boniquis comes. And he is one step closer to a 4th world title. Boniquis will win in Korea. A great drive for Boniquis. And Jeffrey Rietveld will be the next man across the line for GT Omega. He's getting closer to that world title. But Calamise has done enough today. And Burlak's done enough as well to show that he is World Championship, more than World Championship worthy. And Ivar Calamise is held on to the championship here today. And he's getting close. Look, he's coasting. He's coasting.
Suti's lost his engine, and he's far too far away from the line.
Burlak crosses the line. Kostadinov's across the line. Good drive from Kostadinov. The engine's gone for Suti. Pushka it must have saved enough fuel. And that's worked out for Pushka, because Pushka's now across the line in 6th. And 7th is Malachy. 8th is Simoncic. Schneider's 9th. And Keithley gets that 10th place in recovery drive. Disley's 11th. And Suti's got that blown engine. Oh, that's horrible. Eros Mashuli's about to pass him now as well. Oh, that's heartbreaking for for Zoltan Suti on the last lap as well.
Oh,
and Gilbert Bold's going to push him.
Oh, go. Oh.
That's nice of him.
Yeah. That is nice.
Where's Diaz? How far's back Diaz?
Considerably.
Oh look, Baldy's realised how far Diaz is. He's going to go to the line. It's not enough. I don't think that's enough of a run for Suti. I don't think he'll make the line. Baldy's made the line. And Diaz, he's probably going to get 14th out of this, actually, for Jasko's main PSR. because Suti's just coasting and coasting to the line. And sure enough, there goes Diaz, and there's his 14th place. And Suti's rolling.
I've had it before where going down towards the last, just literally so close to the line that you could touch it, and being in a points position, and then the engine's just like, nope, no fuel, goodbye. And you just like, please get to the line, and it just won't. And it's such an uncomfortable situation.
He has not made the line.
No.
He's so close to it. Oh,
is someone going to run round to go push him over?
Oh, that's so harsh for Zoltan Suti. Oh, so unlucky. He's so close to the line. Oh, he's retired now as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have our race winner, which is Bono Huis, and as I said, he's taken one step closer towards that 4th world title. Calamise came 3rd. That's worked out for him today. The championship goes on to Singapore. The championship points drop a little bit more also, but a great race there, Lewis, nevertheless.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. We had an interesting last lap where we wasn't really sure where some people were going to finish, and some good driving from some interesting driving from others, and Bono obviously showing once again that he has definitely got it in him to go for a 4th, and possibly even continue us on through next year and maybe a few years after that, but we'll have to wait and see for that, because Huis, though, looking increasingly stronger for the 4th World Championship in a row for himself and for Precision.
You're absolutely spot on there. And we will look forward, though, now to 2 weeks' time, where we go around the streets of Singapore, under the lights of Singapore as well, which we are looking forward to massively. The longest race of the year, it will be a very long, very taxing race. Strategy will be king once again. But we are looking forward to it here in the broadcast. So from myself, Nick Rowan, Lewis McGlade, and Jaakko Meikkinen, who has done camera stay, a fantastic job. Thank you to Thrustmaster once again. We will see you in 2 weeks' time for the Singapore Grand Prix.